more than normies are. And when I see my friends say, you're for the Iraq War, you're for death penalty and harsh drugs, you're against abortion, you're for mass incarceration. Look, they got sources for all this stuff. Joe Biden is a nasty dude.
Yeah.
And he sniffs little girls. And now that he's appointed Kamala Harris, I'm just kind of like, nah, man. I don't.
They're done.
Yeah. So what is this?
I don't care. I'm gonna pull out my popcorn, make a big, huge bowl, and watch those debates. It's gonna be delicious. I can't wait. I love watching good entertainment, and you got to give it to Trump. He's an entertainer, man. He's a good president and an entertainer. He's gonna be savage.
I laughed. I know, man.
I can't wait.
When they announced Kamala Harris,
Uh-huh.
and I saw all the memes, I was laughing just nonstop. Everybody was ready for this, right? Like Trump had a video about Kamala ready to go. Boom! Right when they announced it, dropped.
Yeah.
And here's the best part. He was in a press briefing apparently when it was announced or whatever, and so he gets asked, and Trump is trying to hold back laughing. It was I started laughing when I saw his face. He made a face like this. He's like trying not to laugh, you know, because the reporter asked him. He asked him questions about Kamala Harris being a hypocrite. Like, for instance, she claimed that when she was in college, she listened to Tupac and Snoop Dogg.
Right.
But
before they were famous.
Before that music even came out.
Oh, okay.
And so everybody was like, that music didn't even exist when you were in college. What are you talking about? Like, she's lying. And Trump's like trying to hold back laughing because here he is talking to the White House press corps, who's usually very adversarial. And they're like, Mr. President, you put out an ad talking about Kamala's a phony. Could you comment on how she was a phony here, here, and here? And Trump's just like, yep, there you go. But it was funny. He was like, a what? A what? And they were like, you called her a phony. And he goes, huh. Like his campaign did it. You know, Trump didn't realize they were dropping the video.
Well, it came from the Trump war room or the Trump camp.
Right.
Not from his direct account.
Yeah. So he's sitting there talking to the press, and he got, I don't know who asked him the question, but man, he got teed up perfectly. Like, Kamala Harris is a phony. She's lying. What was that thing where she was asked about whether she smoked or something?
Oh yeah.
And then she was like, my family's Jamaican.
Yeah, I was actually trying to pull up
the story about her family?
About her dad. Her dad was pissed. I mean, I could just go off memory. I was just this earlier, and so she basically said to this reporter who was like, "Well, did you ever smoke pot in high school?" And she goes, "Well, half my family's Jamaican. What do you think?"
Racist stereotype.
And then her dad comes out and just is like, "Your grandparents, like your family, me, like that is such a terrible stereotype that is not true." That he was pissed.
Kamala Harris is accused by the black community of not being black.
Wow.
Because she's Indian and Jamaican.
Yeah.
And so the Washington Post actually writes this, why some African Americans are questioning Kamala Harris's blackness. And I'll give you the quick gist of it. It's really interesting. Her family, I believe it's her dad, was Jamaican, right?
Yeah.
And her mom was an Indian. It was her mom. Actually, let me read to make sure I get it all right. They say, online stories have, actually, hold on. This is from June 28, 2019. Online stories have circulated suggesting the lawmaker is not African American because her parents are immigrants and she spent some of her childhood in Canada. During a February appearance on the Breakfast Club radio show, hosts DJ Envy and Charlamagne the God asked Harris about that. Harris pushed back, saying, "I'm black and I'm proud of being black. I was born black. I will die black," she said. "I'm not going to make excuses for anybody because they don't understand." She went on to criticize those who question her racial identity. She said, "I think they don't understand who black people are. I'm not going to spend my time trying to educate people about who black people are, because right now, frankly, I'm focused on, for example, an initiative that I have that is called the LIFT Act, that is uplifting folks out of poverty. They go on to mention, here we go. They say, Harris has had life experiences different from those of many black Americans. Her father is a Jamaican immigrant. Her mother is a Tamil Indian immigrant. Her husband is a white man from New York. She was born in Oakland, a city with a rich history of African American activism. Harris spent her early childhood in Berkeley, California, and worshipped at a Hindu temple in addition to attending Black Baptist services. She attended high school in Montreal before returning to the United States for college at Howard University, a historically black college. These differences may help explain why some voters want to know more about her background. Some want to know that she understands some of the issues affecting black Americans since the emancipation of slaves. Harris has said that she supports reparations for the descendants of black people who were enslaved in America. But those asking more questions have attempted to explain the intentions behind their inquiries. Basically, well, I'll read the quote. This whole argument is that we're saying she's not black is really ridiculous. Yvette Carnell, co-founder of the American Descendants of Slavery movement. We're saying there is a difference in the justice demands for people who are descendants of slaves in this country and those who were enslaved in Jamaica. Carnell fleshed out the argument further and in a tweet. Kamala Harris doesn't have that in her lineage. She's anchored in two different immigrant parents. It's really simple. Since Kamala Harris doesn't have the experience in her background or a track record that expresses this understanding, and she announced during MLK week at Howard University, of course she's going to get pressed hard on the specificity of her ADOS agenda. They say ADOS is American Descendants of Slavery. So, I'll put it simply, man, she's literally not African.
Okay, and then wait, and what you just said, I don't know where that just disappeared.
Down here, the ADOS?
Yeah.
American, this one?
Right, so, but above this, he was saying, we're saying there's a difference in the justice demands for people who are descendants of slaves in this country and those who are enslaved in Jamaica. Enter...
Right, it's right next to it. We got it. Right,
okay. This is from her own father, talking to Donald Harris.
It's actually from the Free Beacon, so Breitbart is just quoting the Free Beacon.
Okay, so Donald Harris says he's a Stanford University economics professor, revealed in 2018 that his grandmother was a descendant of Hamilton Brown, the namesake of Brownstown in northern Jamaica. My roots go back, quote, within my lifetime to my paternal grandmother, Miss Crishy. I might have said that wrong, but it's a Christina Brown. Yeah.
Her maiden name, Christina Brown.
Oh, Christina Brown, descendant of Hamilton Brown, who was on record as a plantation and slave owner and founder of Brownstown. So this is her own father saying that they're descendants of slave owners.
This is the problem with the weird leftist identity politics stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris she's not African. She can say she's black and all that stuff because I'm far be it from me to tell anybody about what any of that stuff represents.
Yeah.
I'll defer to other people. But it looks like this. Let me see if I can pull up the Free Beacon. It looks like, there it is, Washington Free Beacon. Kamala Harris's ancestors owned slaves, her father said. Now, I am not going to punish Kamala for the sins.
No, of course not.
Right? And that's one of the big problems we have. But think about what she's claiming and trying to represent versus what her history actually is. Both her parents are immigrants. She does not go beyond into American ancestry pertaining to slaves, nor she was not a victim of nor a perpetrator of anything having to do with that American history. Now, I think it's fair to point out, it's possible that I think it's likely, was a victim of racial discrimination, and in probably various forms these things happen, and that's fair to point out. But you take a look at her history, and that flies in the face of what she's claiming to represent, for sure. It's the inversion of what these other people were saying about her. And then a lot of the arguments in defense of Kamala ignored what they were actually saying. They were like, how silly to claim that Kamala isn't really black. That's so stupid. And that's the media's game. Instead of being honest and showing, the Washington Post, mind you, did a good job, but a lot of the pundits, a lot of these politicos and pundits try and skew, this is the game they play. Instead of saying straight up what they're actually talking about is that she is not a descendant of slavery. She does not have this experience. She went to high school in Montreal. She grew up in a very, activist-y area in Berkeley.
Yeah.
She is not somebody who experienced, say, the hardships of Chicago or New York or any one of these other places. She actually had it pretty good, it sounds.
Yeah.
Well, she's gonna, of course, play that card. That's the modern identity politics that we get right now with people like Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Ben Shapiro tweeted something that was interesting. He called her far left.
Okay.
And people immediately were like, she is not far left. She is more of these kind of like corporate centrist authoritarians. But then Ben Shapiro came back out and said, actually, and he posted a list of all the things she's endorsed, and it would seem like the way I would put it is she's desperately trying to pander to the progressives.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing to me about choosing, you're right, a recovery year, is that what it's called?
A rebuild.
A rebuild. That's like, what is that, like when a sports team...
Yeah, when the sport, like in 1998, when the Bulls kind of were coming to...
They lost their...
In the Last Dance, they talk about how they're going to do a rebuild year, which is because they get so big that they can't afford to pay all their players. Because all the players are now they're championship winners, so they have to trade them off so that they can save money to then, rebuild. So this is the Democrats' rebuild.
So it makes sense, man. It really does.
Yep.
The interesting thing is I've heard the argument made before that they don't actually think they're going to win. But why are the polls claiming they're going to win? Is this like they're going for a B team, but hoping that they can win off of like past recognition or hate for Trump? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Part of me thinks that they may still think that they can actually win because of the way that they're pushing it all out. Like they're playing the part like they're trying to win, but everything about Kamala is like she's horrible. Horrible Harris, seriously. I don't know why anyone would want to defend her and let her be this close to being president. She's a terrible woman.
I tweeted this out, and I know it's a joke. All right, seriously. Let's. So this is the Kamala meme. It's funny, and I really don't think that conservatives are going to look at this and get a kick out of it. I do. I view the criticism much like a lot of these other people coming from the left, like. She's an authoritarian, despotic individual. Now, personally, I think this photo was hilarious. I don't think all cops are bad, like, a lot of these far leftists like to claim. But why would the left, who characterize her in this way, ever give their support to this woman? The only reason, in my opinion, they would choose Kamala is because they're like, let's burn it down.
Yep.
Like Joe Biden's sleeping in the wheelchair with a blanket over his hips in the sun, and there's some people sitting there going like, I'm bored. You want to start a fire? Yeah.
Right, that's literally what many of these Antifa types are doing.
And they're
bored and lighting fires.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, hey, Kamala, come down here. Why? We're gonna burn it down. She's like, ooh, I'm down.
No, she's thinking like, ooh, I can lock them all up. Yes.
No,
yes,
that's
do your crimes.
She's totally oblivious. They're like, you want to burn everything down? Like, yeah. Hey, Kamala, you want to be the running mate? She's like, ooh, I do. And she runs, and they're all laughing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing all of these tweets from many on the left. There's a really famous viral post from the progressive personality Kyle Kalinske.
Okay.
And he said something like, he said I'm not going to be supporting the Democratic ticket. So if you want to blame me for costing the election, by all means do so, please. Something to that effect. Who's basically saying like, do it. Claim I'm the one, because they need people like him to actually win. And so for a while it made sense what Biden was doing.
Yeah.
Biden was the VP in an administration for a president they called the deporter-in-chief.
Yep.
They criticized Joe Biden over this. Then when Joe Biden's debating Bernie, he's like, I'm calling for a moratorium on deportations and decriminalizing border crossings. Look, it's like, wow, that's a 180 from where you were under the Obama administration. It made sense. He was trying to pander to a far left. But I'll tell you what, man. You can't win that, right?
Nope.
Because the far left and regular liberals are too far apart. It creates this huge gap. You can't get them all. They disagree. I mean, the far left doesn't like liberals. They rag them all the time. So it's and not all of them, but the more radical ones. So then I guess the idea was do a 180. They start embracing Trump's positions like Buy American, Buy Back Better.
Build Back Better.
Build Back Better. There it is.
Guys, it's Make America Great Again. You can't beat it.
Yep.
Trump's got it already. It's too late.
Didn't he try, like, he made something that said, like, Buy American plan or something?
Yeah.
Man, that's ridiculous.
I told you, he's trying to cater to the Trump fans, the people who, are like, you know what, Trump's doing it right. And he's like, oh man, how can I, Build Back Better? That's basically the same thing, right? And Buy American Act, that's it.
That's crazy to me. It's like, this is why I was saying early on, my mind snapped when I was like, he really did it. He really picked Kamala. They must want Trump to win.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. I'm sorry. Because I don't think a human being could. I think if you were that stupid, you wouldn't have, like, you wouldn't be able to breathe properly. Like, you'd be so dumb you wouldn't be able to coordinate your movements to actually walk around. But you think I'm joking. You think I'm joking. You don't know, listen. Let's go back in time.
Okay.
Russia gave blue in their faces.
Yep.
That Trump ended up raising record amounts of money when that was proven to be BS.
True.
Then they go for another scandal. They go for impeachment, or they have the whistleblower Ukraine gate.
Right.
Trump raises record amounts of money. They do impeachment. Trump raises record amounts of money. After impeachment failed, Trump's approval rating skyrockets.
Right.
I'm like, how is it that every single time they help Trump, how dumb do you have to be?
So
They just can't get it.
I don't think they're dumb. And I think you mentioned something about this last night. You were talking about how he, no matter what Trump does, he's wrong, right? So
Yep.
even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yep.
So the Democrats are doing everything wrong, right? No. They've gotten absolutely nothing right. They would be right at least a couple times, at least here and there.
No, but they have this. They
Oh,
have.
really?
Yes.
What's that?
The left, when they shut down Trump's press events on COVID, because it was benefiting him. So I'm not as crazy. I'm exaggerating a little bit when I say they've been wrong every step of the way. Trump was giving the COVID press briefings daily.
Yep.
He saw his highest approval rating in aggregate for his entire presidency. They immediately said he's lying, shut down the events, and they cut away and stopped covering them.
Yep.
That was smart on their part. They have done some things that have benefited them.
Smart. Do you hear that, America? The media doesn't want you to see it, and they call
Yeah.
it smart. I'm just pointing that
Well,
out.
I'm calling it smart in terms of their
For
strategy.
them.
Right.
But you're right.
That was their strategy.
Yeah, cut the people off from the president of the United States.
Well, look-
because they don't want them to actually hear what the president has to say. Because newsflash, he's actually a good president.
When people hear Trump, he does better. Recently, Trump's approval rating has been going up, and the pollsters attribute this to him reviving press briefings on COVID.
Yep.
Because people, when they hear what he has to say, all of a sudden they start liking the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the media lies all the time. Trump is far from perfect, but man, does the media lie about everything.
Yep.
So listen, the point I was making is there's a few things the left has done that has benefited them. The left, the media, and the Democrats.
Mhm.
But for the most part, it's like they're 5 steps behind Trump. So something happens.
4D chess.
Yeah, it's you know what I think? I don't think Trump is playing 4D chess. I think Trump is playing chess. I think the Democrats are playing checkers.
Trump's been preparing for his presidency since the 80s. I know it.
Yeah.
He's been prepping for this. He knows what he's doing. He was friends with all the Democrats. He knew how they played the game. He was part of their. He was in the circles. He was aware. And now he went against them, and now they were like, whoa. I mean, you see what happened in 2016 and how they've ramped up their anti-Trump rhetoric. It's like, dude, he knows what he's doing, and he's smart. He's gonna win this fall.
Well, that's good news for the media.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
great news for the media.
Yeah, let's talk about
Take
it.
a look at this article, everybody, from Digiday. There's no antagonist. News outlets mull the possible end of their editorial and business side Trump bump bonanza. And I want you all to laugh at the fear in their hearts of what it would mean if Trump would lose. But then I want you to throw up in your mouth a little bit when you realize they're cheering for Trump winning.
Yep.
They want him to win. I've talked about this with a couple other people in the past, that CNN secretly wants Trump to win. Of course they do.
Yep.
Because he's their whole existence. I tell you what, man. There's something called, what do I call it, the CNN challenge?
Oh, what's that?
It's where you put on Fox News at a
Yeah.
random time during the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then see what they're talking about, and then change the channel to CNN, and they'll be talking about Trump.
Yeah, I called that.
Yeah. So I've posted this. If you check out my Instagram, instagram.com/timcast, I posted 2 videos where it's like I turn on Fox and they're like, we've got a major serious weather storm front coming up to the Gulf. It's going to be reaching these states. Make sure you buy supplies. And I'm like, all right, severe weather, possible risk to the American people.
Mm-hmm.
Switch to CNN. It's a panel where like, now Donald Trump may be the worst president, but So then a few days later, I'm like flipping through, I turn on Fox News, and it's like, riots have erupted in Iran, could challenge the government. And I'm like, wow, international affairs. I put on CNN. Now, Donald Trump, is he the worst president? I certainly think he's the worst president. That's the game they play. So they know what it means. They know what it means if Trump loses. And it's a really interesting thing because a lot of the progressives have been complaining about this.
Okay.
If you follow the progressive circles, they complain about how it's all Trump all the time and how that helps Trump. So remember that woman? We just had that story of that MSNBC reporter who resigned.
Okay.
One of the complaints she had was that even when it's not about Trump, when it's about Biden, they somehow try and make it Trump.
Yep.
The media, I wouldn't say that they're trying to make Trump win, but I will say they love the opportunity. And what ends up happening is they inadvertently help him by giving him endless free press. And you know what's interesting is when I see a story and the media lies, like they'll put out a story where it's like, Donald Trump does bad thing. When I see that, my reaction isn't, oh no, Donald Trump did a bad thing. It's, I am sick and tired of the lies.
Yep.
And it makes me really want to just slam that Trump button in spite of the deception and just the duplicitousness. I do not like being taken advantage of, and I really, really don't like when people try to manipulate me.
Well, these news medias are acting like the internet doesn't exist. They're acting as if people can't circumvent their news media. Like, we can't just go fact check ourselves and watch his press briefings live while it's actually going on YouTube, on whatever. There's countless different places you can watch it.
And that's why they're trying to shut us down.
That's true.
That's why they ban people who say things like learn to code. A simple joke. They're like an opportunity to ban and purge people. You're gone. They don't want you to have that ability. They suspend the president's own tweets.
Yep.
And they make up the BS copyright claims on satire.
And
they call them fake
they
news.
label accurate tweets false information, like what happened to you yesterday.
Yep. They play dirty games where Trump will say something and they'll take it out of context on purpose to claim it's false.
Yep,
Like
exactly.
the famous acid wash fact check. So just quickly, because you got to know this if you don't. Many of you probably do. Trump claimed Hillary Clinton acid washed her server. We all know what he means. We're sane, rational people. He's using it's a figure of speech. And NBC News said false. Hillary Clinton did not use a corrosive chemical on her computer. Well, nobody thought that. Are you nuts?
Yeah.
You take it literally, but what he meant was that she purged the hard drives, which she deleted a bunch of files.
Yeah, she totally did it.
This is you were mentioning the media doesn't realize that we can go around them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think some of them do, but they know many people won't because they're used to it.
Well, and a lot of people are working. They don't have that much time. That it's like the time they do have, they're making food. Like, oh, let me just see what's on the news, and I'm doing something. I'm kind of not really paying attention, but I'm getting the information. At the airport. CNN is in every airport, so they're spreading
They
this.
pay millions of dollars for that.
Right, to spread their message everywhere, which is lies.
Hillary Clinton was campaigning in 2016, and she was at some Southern event, and she talked with a Southern drawl.
Okay.
And everybody was like, does she not know what the internet is?
Right.
Yes, guess what? Back in the day, when the politicians would travel around the country, they'd jump to Chicago and be like, how's it going, everybody? My name's Tim. I'm here from Chicago, and I'm running for president. And
pretty good. It's pretty good, Chicago.
Yeah, people would be like, hey, talks just like me, this guy, yeah.
I'm gonna vote for this guy.
My name's Bob. I make garage doors and garage door openers, and this guy represents me here in Chicago, and I watch the Bears. Then they go to Brooklyn and they talk with a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
They go to the South, they talk with a Southern accent.
Oh, you would do so well, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, you would.
So here we have look. There really is this mentality among these establishment types, especially someone like Joe Biden. Does he not know that we watch him on camera say words?
You might not.
He doesn't. Yeah,
You might actually not.
He might just.
My favorite was when he was like, and what do I say? What do I say? Like, come on. And he's like trying to
Cue card.
Yeah, like, what do I say? Come on, give me something to say. It's like,
Did you see the one where he just breaks down in the interview and then his staffer turns the interview off and just that's all the time we have and just shuts it off?
Hilarious.
That's scary, man.
I don't know. There's this like little bit of piece of me that it's like, is he faking it? Is he really that demented?
He's gonna
in
wonk
his
us.
Yeah, but he's gonna wonk us, man. He's gonna come out there and just be like, well, I'm actually Joe Biden and I'm ready to fight Donald Trump.
You gotta paint the picture better.
All right.
They're gonna wheel him out in a wheelchair and he's gonna have a blanket on his lap. And then he's going to struggle to stand up, and he's going to be shaking. And then he's going to fall straight forward, and everyone's going to gasp. Then he's going to do a perfect somersault, jump right up, and go, hey! And he's going to mosey on over, and he's going to do a little shuffle dance. Willy Wonka. No, I really don't believe it.
I don't know.
So right now, Trump is saying Biden wants to defund the police.
Stupid, dude.
That's technically true. Joe Biden was asked if he would be in favor of redirecting funds, and he said yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like these people don't know they're on camera.
Even Kamala Harris has been. She hasn't been on record on actually saying defund the police, but she was applauding the LA mayor for defunding the police.
These people have no
what?
politics.
No.
I'll tell you what I see. All right. There's always room to criticize Trump, but when I see Trump, he's like, here's the things I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I believe he wants to do those things.
Yep, I agree.
Trump says, I'm going to build a big, beautiful wall from sea to shining sea, and the best he can do is bollard fencing. But he wanted border security. I can understand his general idea. He
Yeah.
really did want massive, thick walls.
And
But-
it's to help stop human trafficking.
A lot of
which is
things.
a big issue, and
But
he's fighting it, dude.
The wall issue is a perfect example of Trump's mistakes and its intention.
Okay.
Trump wanted border security. To him, he said, big, beautiful wall, 30 feet high from sea to shining sea. ICE and CBP came to him and said, we need to be able to see through it because there might be people on the other side and we need to know where they're going.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, that's why bollard fencing makes more sense.
Yeah.
You do a big wall, you won't know where they're going. So then, for budgeting reasons and for, strategy and tactics, they decide to do the fencing instead. But what Trump was really telling the American people was, I want to guarantee the security of this nation and its southern border.
Yeah.
If you think about what he says and his intention, you believe him, and then he did it.
Yep.
There's a lot of things he didn't get done. He wanted to make Mexico pay for it. You can argue about, tax incentives and trade-offs and free trade, whatever. But the point is, he didn't get everything he wanted because he comes from a business background. And this is what I see. He comes from a world where when you're running a business, you can snap your fingers and tell your staffers and your commanders, here's what I need done, go do it. He enters government, and now there's red tape everywhere.
Yeah.
And he's trying to, move through it, and it's difficult. But you can see his intent is legitimate.
But even as a businessman, even in that field that he was in, he made moves where a lot of other people would be sitting there going, how do we make this happen? When he was actually out there going, I'm going to make this happen, and then doing it and making it happen. So him building the wall, like what you said, he wanted to build it for security of our nation, but then you followed it up by on the southern border. You didn't even need to say that because that's literally what people want. They want security in our nation.
Absolutely.
And Joe Biden is not that.
Right.
And Trump is he said it. That's what his plan is. He's proven time and time again throughout his entire career, when he says something, he follows through with it.
Trump, the reason I bring it up is that when Trump says he wants to do something, I legitimately believe he means it.
Agreed.
He's like, we're going to bring back jobs and be better than ever. The TPP was awful. NAFTA was a terrible trade deal. First thing he does, he nukes TPP.
Yep.
He starts renegotiating NAFTA. And here's what I see. Whether you disagree with him or not, that's fine. But you look at what Trump is doing, and I'm like, he means what he says.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Joe Biden, he'll say whatever you tell him to say.
Yeah.
What are you going to vote for?
Whatever his handlers tell him to say.
I look at Joe Biden and I'm like, I have no idea what he wants to do other than sniff kids. Like,
Or have him sit on his lap or touch his legs.
Yeah.
Whatever he says about it.
This is creepy. Listen, but I really do mean this. What does Joe Biden want to do for this country?
Okay.
Is he for Medicare for all? Is he opposed to it? I don't know. He's flip-flopped and he's trying to pander to the far left and he's public option. He says a moratorium on deportations. Now he's saying buy America, build back better. He's trying to, Trump, he's tough on China, but then he says China, they're good people and you can't blame them for this. So which is it? He put out an ad where he was like, Trump is soft on China. And I was like, are you insane?
What?
He really did that.
Yep, and then you got Pelosi coming out going, well, China wants Joe Biden to be president. And
Yeah.
You're acting like a crazy old person. The crazy ones. Not all
Joe
old people
Biden.
are crazy, but the Pelosi is one of those crazy old people with the claw hands.
I'll put it this way.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you something.
this is the way it is.
If you captured, what's a better word? If you mandated for the debate between Trump and Biden and Kamala, and they were administered with a truth serum,
Ooh.
do you know what Trump would end up saying?
The exact same
The
stuff.
exact same stuff.
Yeah.
He'd be insulting people. He'd be like, no, listen, morons. They have no idea what you're talking about. and people would be like, he's not any different. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm correct, but that's what you're saying. Excuse me. Wrong. No. Terrible deal. And people in the audience would be like, we gave him the truth serum. Why not? Yes, exactly. He'd be saying that too.
Yeah.
He'd give the truth serum to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And Joe Biden would be like, look, my number one priority on day one is to assume power and have power and be in control, benefit my family, and get them lucrative jobs in 4 countries. and make sure they can live well. And I have no interest at all in the American people.
And these people just told me to say that, and now I'm being told I shouldn't be saying anything anymore. It's like, go
Kamala
back to
Harris
your
would be like, listen, I'm here because I want power over other people. And I want them to go to prison because it's funny to me.
And I probably make money because I've made deals with them.
That's all they care about, man.
I don't know if that's true, by the way. I just kind of...
This is why I can't stand the establishment, and that includes Republicans. They represent to me people who just want the keys to the castle.
Mm-hmm.
It's all they've ever wanted. And you know what? I blame myself a little bit. I think I blame a lot of Americans, a lot of people who don't vote, but I really do blame the people who keep voting back and forth. There's actually, it's an interesting conundrum where I didn't vote in the past following Obama because I'm like, what's the point? Mitt Romney? No. Barack Obama? Sorry, fool me once. And then we get, in 2016, I see Trump, and I see Hillary, and I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. We're at a point now where we're seeing how bad it really gets. Trump has really improved. What is this look on your face? What is this? He's got a smile on his face.
God, I have a feeling I know where you're going with this. So.
When was the last time Trump said something inappropriate about another person?
I don't know. He's been rather presidential of late.
He has been. He's been pretty good about this. He hasn't said anything super insulting. In fact, someone was just saying that when he contains it, his approval rating goes really weird, right?
And I was thinking about it.
He won the presidency being that obnoxious person anyway. So if his approval rating has just gone up from there, I'm voting for him. I didn't vote for him last time.
It was Hillary.
But I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt you. My smile, I couldn't hold it back.
Oh, I see.
But you were go. Don't stop.
In 2016, I was initially on the Bernie Sanders. I don't want to call it a train. It was a Trump train and the Bernie Sanders Volkswagen or something. And I was because I thought Bernie was more like Trump. He actually was. But Bernie sold out in 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as given the opportunity to be a millionaire, he was like, you vote for the establishment and ignore the millionaires. They're okay now. As soon as he made all that money. You look at what he's saying now. Actually, I think I might have, I don't know if I have an article about it, but there was, actually do. Check this out. From Forbes, Bernie Sanders. Congratulations to Kamala Harris, who will make history as our next vice president. She understands what it takes to stand up for working people, fight for health care for all, and take down the most corrupt administration in history. Let's get to work and win. Let me give you a pseudo applause, Bernie, because Bernie Sanders, one of his former staffers, Brianna Joy Gray, says, "We are in the midst of the largest protest movement in American history, the subject of which is excessive policing. And the Democratic Party chose a top cop and the author of the Joe Biden crime bill to save us from Trump. The contempt for the base is wow."
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I'm highlighting this to talk about Bernie Sanders. In 2016, Bernie said, TPP, terrible. NAFTA, awful deal. Open borders, Koch brothers proposal. We don't want any of that. And I'm listening to him and I'm like, here, brother. I hear you, Bernie. And I'm like, here's a guy who's been in office for decades, who stood up for these issues time and time again. Here he is now, standing up for the working people, opposing the wealthy, money and politics, all these bad things. And I was like, I'm here for it, even though I really disagree with a lot of his far left policies. There was enough there I liked. And I actually talked to a lot of people throughout the 2016 campaign when Bernie finally dropped out, and it was obvious it was going to be Hillary. I met these guys in Anaheim who told it was an older dude and 2 younger guys, and they ended up getting beaten up by the far left, chased out and stood on and hit. They told me that they were Bernie Sanders supporters who switched for Trump because Trump was the only other guy who was offering up anything to the working class. And all these other people who are now supporting Hillary Clinton, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Right.
They end up getting attacked, of course. So we end up seeing Bernie Sanders flipping, and now I'm kind of like, okay, so I stood out, and I was like, whatever, man, what a ridiculous election. I don't care. Fool me once, I'm not playing these games. Now we're at a point where Trump really has chilled out, and that's a fact. That there's a lot he was doing, and I explained this back in the day, that really put off moderate liberal types, inappropriate behavior, things that are funny but not the president should be doing. The last 2 press conferences Trump had, super calm.
Yep.
Thank you for your question. Yes.
Calm and collected.
Yep.
Feeling it.
I think he was waiting until we got closer to the VP announcement, and now he's going to be more stoic, more rational, more chilled out. At least that's what I'm seeing now. So I was thinking about everything we're seeing with the far left, with the riots, what Trump's actions have been, how the media has lied. And now I'm thinking, you know what? I've said this several times. The far left would be better served by another 4 years of Trump to finally end the crony establishment. That's it. Keep them out. Then in 4 years, the far left can step up with a better candidate and get rid of the Pelosi's, the Schumers, the Bidens, the Kamalas. Don't let them win. I don't think they're going to win at this point. But that's what I see. And I talked about it for a while. Listen, man. You know, Trump is the bull rampaging through the ivory tower, and the establishment is being forced out, and they're desperately trying to hold on. You give Trump 4 more years, you might not like him personally or his policies. The far left has a better chance of getting their policies enacted with Trump as the president than as the Democrats retaining establishment control and kicking all populists out. It's not that I want them to win on a lot of things. I actually lean left on many issues, but they're way too far left for my tastes. But I'll tell you this. If the establishment wins, the far left will be pushed out, and so will the populist right.
Yeah.
All populists will just be crushed. They will immediately seize the reins. Social media will silence and ban everybody anti-war, anybody who's populist. They're already trying to do it.
Yep.
So that's why I'm sitting here now. Well, and that's just one of the reasons, honestly.
Think about, all presidents, every president. You know, they come into office, they have a really good approval rating, and they tend to go down over time.
Yeah.
It was the opposite.
It went down and started climbing back
He
up.
came in low, and it's just been climbing and climbing.
Technically.
All right, I'm
As soon as
generalizing it.
He got elected and saw a big spike, and then it just dropped off.
Right.
But it's slowly been going up.
But then you think about why. You think about Russiagate. You think he called it treason today on his press briefing.
Obama.
He called Biden by name, Obama by name, all these other people that were part of it. Comey. He's like, it's treason what they did. It's fine. I mean, they used FISA to
Phony FISA BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was
like,
bad, man.
And his approval rating is just going up and up and up. Dude, he's gonna make some moves.
I don't trust the polls.
I don't trust the polls either.
I saw a meme. There was like there's a meme post on Facebook, and it said, "My neighbor across the street used to fly a Trump flag. One day I noticed that the flag was gone, and I was out mowing the lawn, and he came over and we started talking, and he's like, I mentioned the bumper sticker on my car for a progressive candidate, and he asked me about her, and I told her, and then I asked him, why did you take your Trump flag down? And he said, it's because my grandson came to me and asked me why I supported a racist, sexist bigot, and I had no answer. And I realized, if you lose the respect of your grandson, then what have you got? And I was like,
explain to your grandson that he's not any of those things.
No, my response to that is yes. And then everyone standing around started clapping. It didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Of course not.
I was talking. There's a couple. I don't want to drag some people into this, but there's some moderately high profile individuals who host a show, and I was talking to them back in like 2017. They said from Europe, all the news they saw said Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. That's it. Then they came and flew back to the U.S. and landed and saw nothing but Trump signs, and immediately said Trump's going to win. And people laughed at them. They're like, you're nuts. And they were like, you've not been on the ground in these towns. You've not driven around. Tell me, where have you seen the Hillary sign? Yeah, and right now, are there Biden signs? So I get it, man. People are saying they're going to vote against Trump, and that's what they're really doing. I wonder, how many people are going to vote, how many people will vote just simply because they hate Trump?
People are having Trump rallies on their own. There's boat rallies happening across this nation right now.
What was that photo?
I'm bleeding into it. I got you. So one of them, I mean, they're all right. So there's this one picture of just massive Trump. Like they got like 15 Trump flags all the way up the whole sails, and there's this picture of all these different, boats just rocking the Trump flag. And there's this one guy in a kayak holding up a handwritten Biden 2020 sign.
And then, you know what they're trying to say now?
What?
It proves that Trump is all the rich people who can afford boats. And it's like, have these people ever financed a boat? Like, how much do you think it costs to finance a boat?
Right.
It's not that much.
No.
Not docking fees and stuff, but these are middle class people.
Yeah.
They got a boat. It's a couple $100 plus docking fees.
And it's all over the place.
Yeah.
I've seen boating in Florida, in Minnesota, in Iowa, Man, where else have I seen it?
Delaware River, right?
Delaware
here.
River, right here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was crazy because
Everywhere, man.
The big boat parade.
Trump 2020.
I'm sorry, man. I do think you'd be a fool to think you've got it in the bag completely. Of course, we're going to sit here and laugh because Kamala is like the worst pick ever.
No, I've said it. I've said it many, many times. Every single Trump supporter is proud to go vote for him. Proud.
No. You're wrong.
Okay. Well, then I'll talk about
Hold on.
myself.
No.
I am.
No.
I can't wait to go
But
vote for him.
I'm only giving you a jab. The reality is, you didn't give them enough credit. Trump supporters will walk over broken glass to go vote for him.
You're. Yeah,
It's
that's right.
beyond proud. It is.
I see you out there.
It is like I am not going to back down
Because they love this country and they believe that he is doing the right thing, and I do too.
For me, it's actually, I think, more so. There's many things Trump has done that's been really great. Economics, you cannot deny it.
Yeah.
You know, up until COVID. But for me, it really is the Democrats' embracing of this psychotic ideology.
And them trying to blame Trump for COVID when he literally tried to give them help and they denied it and then made it all worse and are just
Yeah.
keeping it worse.
They will burn it all to the ground because
Yep.
they don't like the oranges.
Yep.
You see what's going on in New York now with the big retail chains are leaving New York?
I'm not surprised.
This is insane.
Yeah, New York's gone to the dogs.
All of these big chains, even Subway sandwiches, are like, we're out.
Wow.
Well, I don't know how many, but there's no business anymore.
I once stood on one corner and I saw 5 Starbucks. And I was like, there's Starbucks, there's one, and I was standing in front of one.
I cannot. I'm just flabbergasted. Is an understatement when I see these cities, how they're being driven into the grounds. Oh yeah, we've got the police chief who resigned
Oh yeah.
in Seattle. We actually have that
Let's
story.
talk about her. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
for sure.
her.
This-
What an
so-
awesome woman.
So listen, the context I'm bringing this up in. When I see stories like this, Seattle police chief resigns after budget cuts. Move comes after city council voted to cut spending in response to public pressure to defund the police. This is, my understanding, is the first
Lord.
female police chief of Seattle.
Progress.
I think so.
They were going to cut her salary.
No, and not just cut her salary, but make her fire
Right.
100 cops that she herself hired.
I was going to say, that's not the reason she's resigning. It was a minor cut to her salary, but they said defund the police, 100 layoffs. And it was mostly minority officers.
Yep.
This is the insanity we are seeing across this country from people who claim to be anti-racist. In California, literally repealing civil rights law.
Yep.
What's mind-blowing to me is when I try to explain to my friends, they're like, you're going to make sure you vote for Biden, settle for Biden. And I was like, but the Democrats are repealing civil rights law in California. And they're like, so what? Or they
They
look
don't
at
even know what it means then.
they refuse to believe it.
Right.
They refuse to believe it. Prop 16 would repeal Prop 209, which says the state shall not discriminate on the basis of race, sex, national origin, etc. In public education and a couple other instances. These are important civil rights laws that make it illegal to discriminate on the basis of race and get rid of it. That, to me, is an existential threat to, for one, the progress we've made in this country, and that's one of the reasons why I feel obligated. I have no choice. I've been talking to other people of a similar background to mine, and the argument is basically, when you have Democrats saying straight up, we will repeal civil rights law, well then there's literally nothing you can say to me. You literally told me, vote for Trump or else. And I'm like, oh, okay. The Democrats have said to me, looked me in the eyes and said, your family history, the things they've went through, the fleeing multiple states because of because of how the system was structured, those things that protected you, we will take away. And I said, so you're telling me I have no choice but to vote for Trump? Because if they win, you're gonna do horrifying things to my family?
Yep.
Okay, thanks. I guess I have no choice. What do you want me to say?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, to be fair, Trump has chilled out.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's been a big thing because typically when I think back to the things that really I didn't like, his diction, but he hasn't been doing that.
Oh, he hasn't.
That was, really early on, I would roll my eyes every day at some silly thing, and I have a sense of humor, man. I can laugh about it. Doesn't mean I gotta vote for it.
Right.
Today, I watched his past couple press conferences, and I was like, he was so reserved.
Yeah, today it was I mean, actually, all of the past couple months he's been
Reserved,
yeah,
chilled out.
Yeah.
And when when the shooting happened outside the White House, he calmly walked away, calmly walks back in. Do I look rattled? And I'm like, He seems chill.
Impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, man. What am I supposed to say? And I hear from my friends. A friend of mine who is LGBTQ said he's threatening my community, and I'm like,
Joe Biden's the one who's against gay marriage.
well, yeah, but he'll give in to whatever they want.
That's a good point.
Kamala Harris and Biden will do whatever they're told by the far left.
Mhm.
No, but I think it's a fair point. Their concerns, if you are pro, say, trans activism and all this stuff, and identitarianism and stuff, and I look at that and I'm like, I can understand why they would be concerned and upset about that. I literally have nothing else to say. I'm sorry. Like, the Democrats have this insane ideology that directly threatens my family, and so maybe it's a dividing line. Maybe. But I will also say there's a lot of things I disagree with about the activism they're pushing forward. The
Yeah.
anti-science stuff, too.
Well, defunding the police is a terrible thing. We've talked about New York, Chicago, Minneapolis, Seattle, Portland, where all these places that are dropping police
129 departments
across the nation.
across the nation. According to a report, this was a report by Fox News, they said it was 250 departments were reviewed,
Yeah.
and just about half had reductions in their budgets due to the defund the police demands.
And now we're seeing crime spike everywhere.
Murder.
Murder is spiking.
Did you know that-
homicides are up 250, I think more, like 300% in New York. I don't know exactly the number, but last I checked, it was
ridiculous.
It's insane.
You know, the DA in Chicago, I don't know if she's the DA or the state's attorney, I think she's state's attorney, Kim Fox, is releasing 35% more, she's dismissing 35% more felonies than the previous. Now hold on, we really got to be fair. There's probably good reason to suggest that some of these prosecutors were overzealous and prosecuted people that probably shouldn't have.
Okay.
I'm totally down for prison reform and criminal justice reform, but I gotta say, man, when you're dismissing a higher percentage of homicides and aggravated assaults and sexual assaults and stuff like this, at a time when crime is going up, I'm gonna have to give you the side eye and be like, what are you doing over there? More importantly, she released like 800 people for rioting charges, like low-level misdemeanor stuff during the riots, and now we see mass widespread looting, and I'm going, I don't know. I don't know if I think she's doing it right. Like, is it?
So I want to give credit to Carmen Best. She is an incredible woman, and I'm going to read this letter that she wrote to the government, or she went to, let's see, who did she send this to? The president and Lisa Herbert of Public Safety in Seattle. So this is a letter directly from her. It says, "Dear President Gonzalez, Chairwoman Herbold, and the Seattle City Council members, I wanted to update you on recent events, particularly those that have occurred late last night. A resident of mine in Snohomish County was targeted by a large group of aggressive protesters late last night. My neighbors were concerned by such a large group, but they were successful in ensuring the crowd was not able to trespass or engage in other illegal behavior in the area, despite repeated attempts to do so. Currently, the local sheriff, not SPD resources, is monitoring the situation. I urge you both and the entire council to stand up for what is right. These direct actions against elected officials, and especially civil servants like myself, are out of line with and go against every democratic principle that guides our nation. Before this devolves into a new way of doing business by mob rule here in Seattle and across the nation, elected officials like you must forcefully call for the end of these tactics." She's calling them out.
They didn't, though.
And they didn't, and she's quitting now.
But do you know what those local residents did to ensure no illegal behavior?
What?
You know.
Yeah.
They came out with rifles.
Yes, they did.
And they pointed them at the peaceful assemblers.
Yes, and they left.
And they're like, we were being peaceful and you pointed a gun at us. And the lady goes, that's why you were being peaceful.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to finish reading because it sums it up perfectly. The events of this summer were initiated in a moment of grief and outrage over the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officers and so many other black and brown police suffering at the hands of injustice. All of us must ensure that this righteous cause is not lost in the confusion of so many protesters now engaging in violence and intimidation, which many are not speaking against. That's a problem. Sincerely, Carmen Best, Chief of Police, Seattle Police Department.
Her resignation is effective September 2nd, I believe.
And it is a shame, because these are the kind of cops that we need. Carmen Best, I salute you.
How ridiculous to claim to fight for racial justice and then target minorities. And these activists are overwhelmingly white. I've been in Portland, I've been in Seattle. Man, I tell you this, I've never heard more racial slurs screamed in my life than when I go down to these events. And do I hear it from the right wingers?
Nope.
Nope, of course not.
It's all from the left.
Yep. It's insane. I mean, there's a couple of famous instances where these Antifa types, these Black Lives Matter people, are yelling the N-word at cops, black cops.
His name is Philip Anderson. I'm following this guy still, and he is out there constantly calling these people out, and he gets ridiculed and he gets name called so heavily. It's crazy to watch his videos, and he's just calling them out. Like, well, what about me? You know, what about me? Do I not matter to you guys? And they just rip him apart.
You know, man, I'm gonna say it.
Props to you, Philip. I'm still watching.
I'm really mad at the Democrats.
Me too.
You know why I'm mad?
Why?
Because they're forcing me to vote for Trump. They're forcing me to have to do it. I don't like voting against. Okay. And normally, unless I hear a bunch of really strong policies, now I'll tell you, I lean towards Trump. That's why I've said, you know, I'm definitely leaning towards it. It's probably going to be, and it's because of Afghanistan.
Yep.
It's because Trump wants to withdraw troops from Afghanistan. You cannot argue against that. Maybe Dan Crenshaw has one, but the regular people in this country who are like, I must be for the war now. You know, oh, because Joe Biden supported it and Trump opposed it, therefore I'm for it. Sorry. Give me a real discussion about our use of resources, otherwise I don't want to hear it. So I'm looking at Trump now and I'm saying, he's not that bad. I look at the Democrats and I'm like, these people have lost their minds.
Yep.
And I've never been in a position where I really felt like there was an existential threat to this country. I've seen elections, I've seen the comments about like, you know what, man, I get it, you guys, I'm staying out of this. But now it's to the point where it's like, businesses are being destroyed. They're arresting people for running their businesses. The governor of New Jersey just threatened all the businesses again. And I'm seeing posts from locals I know who are like, what does this mean for my business? They're going to take, like, we're done. We're over. Our company's gone.
Murphy's crazy.
Yeah, these Democrats are psychopaths.
Yes, they are.
Bill de Blasio illegally painting Black Lives Matter without going through the legal channels, taking taxpayer funds and using the NYPD to protect it, and then arguing that the Blue Lives Matter has no right to paint their own message, and now he's being sued for it.
Good.
They've lost their minds. I'm not here to advocate for a message to be painted on anything. I'm here to say equality under the law for everybody.
Boom.
And they don't agree with that. They don't.
Then they need to be outed then.
Absolutely.
They need to be recalled years ago.
And that's why it's like, you know what? Trump's not that bad. I will absolutely take another 4 years of Trump and Republicans if it means the crony establishment and the corrupt are removed from office.
Trump's awesome.
I'm not.
Trump is awesome. I'm going to vote for him. I can't wait to vote for him. I know many of you are out there thinking the same thing I am. And you want to say it, and you're not. If you're scared, don't be scared. Say it.
I'm going to say it.
I'm proud of it.
I'm going to say this one more time. If Donald Trump loses, and you right now are too scared to speak up out of fear of losing your job or your friends yelling at you or making people angry or whatever, don't be a mean person. You know, you can express yourself, you can assert yourself and stand up for yourself. But I worry about how people are going to feel if they really do think Trump needs to be the person who wins, that Biden and Kamala are really big threats, and then they lose because you didn't want to speak up. I personally, that's not for me. I can understand people who don't want to do it because they're concerned about their lives and safety and everything like that, but I do not. It would not feel good to, you know, if I knew something was this important and then you lose, you know, imagine January 20th comes around and it's, you know, Kamala and creepy sleepy Biden, and you could have spoken up early. You could have said something, you could have changed it, you could have done it now. This is the time. It is August 11th. We are less than 3 months out. Speak up for what you believe in, and the same is true for the Biden people. Look, all I'm really saying is stand up for yourself, but to be honest, the left has carte blanche to stand up and scream. They break the rules, get fired, and then get reinstated. Like the guy wearing the Black Lives Matter mask.
Yeah.
Taco Bell's like, you're out, and he's like, then I quit. There was a venue, we were going to put on an event. All the staff threatened to quit because they didn't want some of our speakers who were going to be there. And that was it. Show can't go there. A lot of people on the right aren't doing the same thing. Maybe it won't matter because the left will not be voting for Kamala.
It's because the people in the middle, like me, are the ones making a difference. Most of us are in the middle. Most of us see that Trump's the way. He is. Let's do it.
Long shots.
There have been a lot of polls showing that independents slightly lean in favor of Trump and the conservatives.
Okay.
Republicans, I should say.
All right.
But there is a decent amount of independents who are leaning left, and I think that's their goal with Kamala. They want to try and grab as many independents as possible. It is a smarter play, but Kamala's just a really, really awful
God, she's awful.
Yeah, she is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take your super chats, and we just cracked 40,000 likes,
yes.
which means Adam puts on the MAGA bean.
I was
Big
waiting
timing.
for it. I was waiting for it.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say it. Thank you, everyone. I've been spamming the chat. Like, help us beat our record. We hit 80,000 people at one time.
That's crazy.
That's all because you guys. That's because you guys are all awesome and you support us all. I really appreciate it. You know, I don't like speaking for others. I love to just speak for myself. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys.
We're all stoked for everybody, coming and hanging out, sharing. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. We do the show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And 9:30 means, 40K likes means the MAGA beanie.
Right.
No beanie, no peace.
No beanie.
And if you know beanie, you know peace.
Oh.
I like that.
That is an excellent.
You see what I did there?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
That's all the fans though. I can't take credit. That's other people. But it's good. I'm adopting it. I'm stealing it. It's mine now.
We're going to read super chats now and get some user commentary on the show. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram Twitter, Instagram, and Parler at Timcast. You can also follow at Adam Krigler on all the same places, Twitter, Instagram, Parler, and of course at Sour Patch Lids, LYDS on Twitter and Parler. She is the wonderful producer. And if you would like to get me, I'm very close to breaking 1 million subscribers. So go to timcast.net. And that is my main channel, and you can help me out by subscribing to my main channel if you want to check out my videos as well. Well, how about we
And
read?
you can also check out Adamcast IRL on YouTube. I'm getting fairly close to 100,000 subscribers,
Oh.
so I'm getting kind of excited about that. I haven't done an Adamcast in a while, but I will be returning once we finally move to the new studio. It's coming soon. So
We're getting jammed up.
Yeah.
We've been trying to expand because we're going to be doing a fact-checking unit. We're going to have like a straight-up news website. It's going to be a legit operation with tons of people. Real news. But COVID, man, it's so difficult to move on, expanding, getting a new property and everything. They are really jamming us up. But
sucks.
yeah, it was supposed to be only a couple weeks, and then Adam's going to be setting up his own studio for the Adamcast IRL show.
Yep.
And, but, we'll get it when we get it, I guess.
Adamcast.
We're supposed to be really, really close within a few days of finalizing everything, and then the construction begins. So hopefully 2 weeks, and we can be fully operational.
So send some good energy into the air
Yeah.
for our new location,
Yes, please.
That's
Good
what
vibes.
remain undisclosed.
It's like a secret location.
Outer space.
Bobby Maz, Super Chat says, we have crooked governors, mayors, prosecutors, DAs, and judges. They're ruining our cities. We can vote them out in the next election. But by that time, the major cities will be smoldering rubble. How do we get rid of these narcissists now? Love the show. I don't know. I mean, the election's coming up really soon.
I know.
Maybe federal, something Trump can do, maybe to try and.
I mean, we can. Some of them can be recalled. Some of them can be impeached. I mean, there's.
Recall, but people are fleeing,
That's true.
and the people who are fleeing are the ones who would call for the recall, but now they're out.
I know. It's a
All
good
these
point.
big chains too.
But then we know, like, New York is losing electoral votes now because they don't have the people anymore. So they're kind of screwing
Yeah, dude.
themselves. These blue states, these blue areas. It's like they're gonna try to infiltrate red areas. Well, they're just gonna have more people that are gonna tell them how awesome Trump is.
Maybe this is
Heyo.
it's one of the reasons they wanted mail-in voting is because people are fleeing.
Yeah,
and they need
maybe.
to vote from absentee or whatever. I don't know.
But it's not too late. It's not too late to register to vote.
Right. I guess we'll see, man.
So if you haven't registered to vote, you better register to vote. This is a pretty important year.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some cheating and fraud and
Oh
all that
gosh,
nonsense.
of course there's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Commander 232 says there's a difference between the statement Black Lives Matter and the organization Black Lives Matter. After the organization's direct quote about their actions that are terrorists, and last time I checked, American doesn't effing negotiate with terrorists, and our response to terrorists is 500 pounds of FU. I'll tell you what, man. We've gotten to a point where in Chicago, there was mass looting, and then the next day they came out and defended the looting and said it's our right, it's our reparations, and we don't care if someone loots and robs a store. And I'm just like,
terrible.
there's photos of a small business, small restaurants that were ransacked, and I'm like, these people think they have the right to do this,
That's insane.
and they're doing it because for political reasons. Like, I'm sorry, man, that's terrible.
Yes,
we got
it is.
a big old super chat from Anthony Brewer. He says, once again, Biden is copying Trump. Harris as VP is just Biden's lawful president move. Exactly. Yeah. But she's awful.
She is.
She's so awful. So Nathan Parrish says, thank you guys for giving us truthful news and your honest opinions. I found you guys a few months ago and have watched nearly every night. I won't be able to watch for a while because I leave for Navy basic training tomorrow. All three of you are great. Thank you.
Thanks for your service.
Congrats, man.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, have fun.
It's tough.
It's I don't know anything about Navy basic, but I have family who've been through basic. To me, it sounds fun. Like rigorous training, hard exercise, getting tear gassed.
Sounds great.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Navy, but you know, they put you in the room and they drop tear gas.
I know the Marines do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. John Q. Publius says, Biden has a very consistent problem with restraining hostility. He gets aggressive and vitriolic at the drop of a hat. He has even been seen recently to put hands on folks at campaign events. Trump will use this flaw against Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Look fat, definitely. You see the one where he grabs the guy and he's like, look.
Fucking bitch.
There is a guy who's trying to ask him a question.
He
He
snaps
snaps
on
on
you.
him.
Caitlin Hunn says, you guys are seriously Hamilton and the Federalists of this age. Every single show you guys defend the Constitution and spread the word through today's version of the Federalist Papers. Keep spreading the truth and defending our Constitution.
Is
I'll
that-
never stop.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, we are, Tim.
Which
Yes,
one of us
we are.
gets Aaron Bird?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Brandon D says, ever play Cards Against Humanity and you just have a crap hand? So you just throw down the lamest card in your hand as a throwaway? That's the DNC 2020.
Boom.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Man. John Roccamonte says, personally, I think Trump will wipe the floor with Biden-Harris. How do you guys think the election will go? Personally, now, I think it's going to be a 49 state landslide.
Landslide. Trump 2020. Trump 2020.
I think if they've since 1968, so Wall Street Journal said this, they've claimed it's been rigged when the Republicans win, except for the landslides.
So it's going to be a landslide.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, almost everyone I know, like, I mean, I've made my circle small over the past few months because there's some crazy people that I know that don't want to even just have conversations. So now, basically, everyone I know is voting for Trump. It's awesome. Like, I found most of my family is all Trump supporters.
That's cool.
And they're like, oh, finally you woke up. And you're paying attention now. Man, all right.
There are a lot of people I know that are totally on board for Biden,
Yeah.
and they don't really pay attention to news.
I have one friend who's on board with Biden, and they're like, well, it's better than the horrors of Trump. And I go, well, what are the horrors of Trump? Like, I would really like to know. Like, could you tell me? Well, I don't really want to have that conversation. Well, we can talk. Like, you know, we've been friends for a long time. Call me up. Let's talk. Tell me what you think, because I would like to. I want to hear, because I've done a lot of research about him. So I want to know what you think. Crickets.
Fake news.
Yeah.
So, like, one thing my friend told me was that Trump recently said he was going to, like, ban health care for transgender
Oh yeah, that whole
stuff.
thing.
And the reality is, the medical rule, I guess, was changed to say that biological sex is defined legally as your sex assigned at birth.
Okay.
And they were like, that, therefore, that is saying Trump is doing this thing to this community. And it's like, no, it just means you need to pass a law to get these benefits. You can't just change the language to put these rules in place.
Right.
But I understand, you know, if that's something that's really important to you, and it is to a lot of people, I can understand why you'd be upset by, you know, Trump setting these rules. But to frame it in that way the media does, we can have a whole rational conversation about the appropriate ways to move forward. I don't think they're actually giving us this on the left. And I think the point I was going to make is the people I know that support Biden don't know anything about news.
Yep.
And they don't even watch my show. Like, I have really good friends that I've known my whole life, very progressive, and these are like people I would, you know, take a bullet for and would probably do the same for me. They're not politically active. They don't watch this show or any of my content. We talk all the time, and the conversations are always very much me being like, Democrats are bad, here's why.
Yep.
And they're shocked to find out that I'm saying, like, I feel obligated to vote for Trump. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, listen, you guys, you don't watch the news.
Yeah, you don't pay attention. Why do you have such a strong opinion? If you're not paying attention at all, though.
They don't.
But they do. They
Well,
think Trump orange man bad.
I believe that. I'm talking specifically about my friends who want to vote for Biden.
I'm talking in general. You know,
I
these people
think-
that don't want to talk about the person I just referred to that doesn't want to talk to me
Right.
about why Trump's bad. And it's like, talk to me about it. I want to know, and probably correct a lot of the things that you're thinking about.
I'd be willing to bet most of my friends, if they actually came out here
Mhm.
and we sat down for a night by the fire with some pizzas and beers,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, they'd be like, man, I certainly wouldn't vote for Joe Biden.
Yep.
I'm not saying they'd vote for Trump, but I was talking to a friend and I was like, do you have any idea what Obama did with foreign policy, extrajudicial assassinations of
Right.
American citizens, prosecuting whistleblowers and leakers, like the indefinite detention provision, like all of these things pertaining to how we are a horror around the world to a lot of different people.
Making the cages that everyone loves to blame Trump for,
right.
where Obama made those. He's the one who put the kids in there.
So I ask, how can you actually ask me to vote for Joe Biden when he was the VP to warmonger Barack Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton?
Yep.
The foreign invasions without congressional approval, Libya, the airstrikes. We saw he died, about Gaddafi, all of these things that America was not supposed to be doing. And you are asking me to vote for that.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has no new wars. He's trying to end the one in Afghanistan. I'm sorry, man. I feel like everything else outside of that is I call it stamp collecting. And no offense to stamp collectors, but the point I'm trying to make is stamp collecting is a simple and humble hobby. It is not the most pressing important thing for the safety and security of our planet. And if you want to have an argument about why we should or shouldn't have troops, I'm totally down for it. I'm very anti-war, particularly with the Middle East. Less so when it pertains to actual defense of our country, our allies, and threats coming from places like China. But the war in the Middle East seems absurd and obnoxious, and you will not be able to come to me and argue I should vote for Joe Biden. To ignore that to me is insane.
So here, did you read that massive one from JMac? Huge super chat.
The one about Biden stealing Trump's policies, or no?
No.
Read it.
All right, so this is from JMac. Big thanks for that large chunk of a super chat. He says, I can't begin to tell you how often I've talked to people that are just not plugged in. The civil rights repeal, Trump's fight on human trafficking, constant riots, and the Democrats either doing nothing or outright defending it. So many people are just conditioned to hate Trump because he's racist. If you're not far left, you need to speak up.
That's why. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very nice, and he nails it. I saw that and I was like, that's exactly what we're talking about right now. They're just not plugged in, and they get their news from their friends, that they get their news from their friends, who get news from a meme they saw about Trump being whack, and it's like, what? That's not news. If that's where you think, they have such a strong opinion on it, but they have no idea what's actually going on. It's crazy.
I don't necessarily. I don't blame my friends who are polite and have real conversations with me. Like I've had conversations with my friends, and I tell you, man, these are people that I know and I've loved my whole life.
Yeah.
And these are really amazing conversations. When they say something like they hate, they loathe, they despise Trump, and then I say something and they're like, I'm so surprised to hear you say that, and it ends with us saying, I love you, man. Do your thing. I'm here for you if you need any help. Like we're always going to be, good friends, all that stuff. It's really interesting to have that kind of interaction where we know that our people I grew up with, familial bond almost.
Yeah.
That transcends any of our political disagreements on politics. And it's so crazy how that doesn't exist. People would give their own family members, the left, they say, disavow your Trump supporting family. You got these young people saying their parents are bigots and they want to run away and stuff like that. It's like blood is thicker than water, man.
Yeah.
And even as it goes to my friends that I've known since I was like an early teenager, as a kid, I'm like, we may not actually have literal blood between us, but man, this is my family. And there's nothing that's going to end our friendship over stupid arguments about Trump or Biden. That's the way it should have been. Where we can sit
That's
down.
the way it should be right now.
But the problem is, we're getting to a point where, like, repealing the civil rights law.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, I'm sorry. You're not going to get me to support that.
Never.
There's no compromise.
Not in the
There's no
slightest.
compromise. And that's
People
that's
fought
scary.
and died for that. It's crazy that they're trying to repeal it and everyone's not in outrage. Everybody needs to be in outrage for that.
So this is, I'm absolutely adamant about not doing any business in California.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Especially if this passes. If it
Absolutely.
doesn't, well, I'll reconsider. But, I tell people, listen, they say that what happens in California is a few years away from happening in the rest of the country.
Yep.
Not anymore.
I hope not.
No, that's
seriously.
But that's the way it would have been if life continued on.
Yeah.
No, like if people didn't have great awakening of realizing how they need to be political, how they need to pay attention, because all this stuff was happening, and all these people that were making these moves were like, yes, the people don't care, like let them live their lives, little peons, while we make all these grand, money off of warmongering and, just selling our country out to different whatever, the TPP, China. It's crazy. Now people are like, no, we're done with that. And then we got Trump who's like, hey, by the way, doing this, and I want you guys to have the power again.
I think it comes and goes in waves, where the silent majority is they're comfortable.
Yeah, well, and busy working and living
absolutely.
their lives.
So long as regular people are kept at a certain level of satisfaction, then they say, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to pay my bills, and I'm doing all right. Once things start getting really, really bad, they start getting very politically active.
Yep.
And that's been happening now. And they're not blaming Trump for it.
Nope.
They're certainly not. I mean, some people, sure, for sure. It's hard to know, man. I really want to make sure we don't walk into a trap of being in this bubble. Like I mentioned, with like all the left cheering for the Mueller investigation, it fizzled out. It's possible a lot of people on the culture war right, whatever you want to call it, are sitting here being like, we got this, we got this. You might wake up for a cold and rainy day, but
People are voting for Trump.
For sure.
Landslide, baby.
I'm just saying. Art of War. Okay? Art of the Deal.
Yeah, you know who probably read Art of the War?
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Trump.
What I'm saying is, you win the war before it starts. You never underestimate your opponent.
Right.
You can sit here and laugh and mock Biden and Harris all day and night, but if you sit back and get complacent, they come up from under you. They surprise you with like I said, Biden might Wonka us. He does a somersault on stage, pops and goes, now it's time to debate. And it's like, whoa. So you'd be surprised, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, that won't make me vote for the creepy Uncle Joe that he is.
But he maybe could convince people to vote for him. Yeah, I know, he's a creep, man. Listen,
He's creep.
In 2016, I could not believe that, what are you looking, you want to, that's right, you gotta spin the phone.
Yeah,
I
I'm
couldn't,
not spinning it.
I couldn't believe,
It's just not.
I couldn't believe Hillary would win. But I felt like the establishment would never allow Trump to win. Then when Trump won, I was like, wow, that's based on what he was saying, how people were responding, the signs, the rallies.
Yep.
I really did think like he should win, but there's no way they'd let him. Because I've seen it.
They didn't want him, and now we're finding out that they might have committed treason. That's what President Trump said today. He said that he called them out for it being treason.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, he actually said it, not probably treason. He straight up said it's treason what they did.
I want to see the Durham report.
I think he's slowly upping his,
man.
dropping the bombs on what he knows before it hits.
If the Durham report comes out and it's a nothing burger, I am going to have a big, long break out of the nothing burger.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say I told you so.
Okay.
However, what I'm really getting to is not that it's wrong or that I'm predicting it will be a fizzle, but I'm saying don't get complacent.
What did we say about Trump earlier?
What was that?
When he says he's going to do something, what does he do?
His intent. It's legit.
Yes.
He means it.
Exactly. He
But
wouldn't be dropping these little sentences here and there without an actual plan. He's seen the Durham report, dude.
Yeah, it could be the big ask. You gotta be careful.
Okay.
I mean, he said big, beautiful 30-foot wall from sea to shining sea. We got bollard fencing.
Well,
it's still really good, right?
It's over 250 miles at the moment.
Well,
in,
also
in key places that trafficking was happening.
Right.
Both drugs and people.
This is an important thing. We get a chance to fact check right here. Is when the left claims Trump isn't building wall. Look at the pictures of the wall before, and it's like a broken fence with a hole in it.
I know.
And now it's like triple layered with barbed wire and cars driving around. It's like, yeah, he's securing the hotspots.
Yep.
And they'll try and move to other areas. They'll rebuild, and it's going to be a game of cat and mouse. But
Right, but there's a big, huge expanse, which is the desert of Texas, and it's a barren wasteland. Have you ever taken I-10 across Texas?
what is that? North, south?
That's the south
No, I
route.
haven't. No.
It goes on forever. you
I've done
just
the north.
drive forever. The north is actually prettier. It's a little
Yeah.
more
Nice, yeah.
foresty, but the south, I mean, you think about what's even further south, and it's just nothing for so long. It's like you can't drive. You have to walk, and that's deadly. So he's protecting the key spots. National security.
Deep down, I believe it's going to be a landslide historic moment for Trump.
Me too.
Deep down.
Oh, it's so nice to hear you say that.
But I'm it's Kamala Harris. It's Kamala Harris, man. That was like
Horrible Harris.
horrible Harris. That was them
Horrible
being
Harris.
like we give up. And I'm like, wow. Like
Yep.
you heard what Brianna Joy Gray said.
Mhm.
Like this historic protest against police brutality. And they choose Kamala, and I'm like, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking? I saw a progressive, pretty far left progressive person I know on Facebook, a friend of mine, saying they chose Kamala Harris. Like, this is the most insane thing the Democrats could have done. The left hates her.
Yeah.
So, who are Democrats really going to get?
they're just getting them out of the way.
Far left is like, nah, you guys make your like Biden. We were willing to settle for, but nah, not her. Nope. She's nuts.
Brooks Ogborn
Fuck.
says, hi,
Give me the
Tim,
fucking
Liz,
spear.
and Adam.
God damn it.
Tim, I loved your American Dream hard work video over the weekend. Best one you've done in a long time. Also, how is NYC housing homeless for $125 per night when I make only $125 per day? How is unemployment $600 when I work full time and earn $480?
Yep.
How does it make sense? I don't know. And they're putting them up in these ritzy hotels too, like really fancy hotels, and they're just peeing all over the place. I mean, man, they're
doing worse things.
they're
than that.
selling drugs in front of little kids. It used to be stroller land. I lived in the Upper East Side in New York for a little while. It was Strollerville, and a lot of these hotels are in the Upper East Side. So I read a story about this woman who was walking her 2-year-old, and some
Motherfucker.
guy kept trying to offer her crack.
Wow.
And she's like, please stop, and like rushed her child who was right there being, experiencing that. It's craziness.
Awful, dude.
Yeah, it's awful. New York is
The worst.
It's going back to when crime was terrible then.
An investigation found that they had relocated some diddlers near an Upper West Side school, in a playground.
Yep.
And then the city immediately denied it and said those people aren't there. That's incorrect.
Mhm.
But then where are they? Nah, man, they're destroying this place. Beast Thing says, hello, Tim, Adam, and Lydia, former Philly boy who moved west. I know you are moving, and before you leave, get some Wawa and or Rita's because I miss both and they're awesome.
Yes, they are. Rita's
Rita's
water ice. Very good. They're only open for like 4 months. So, and they close in like mid-September or
Oh,
something.
we gotta go.
And yeah, really.
Brody Metal says, did $100 a couple days ago. Wrote about building flagpoles and supporting my 17-year Navy brother. Tim, please end this in a MAGA beanie. I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't.
Nah, I don't think so either.
I've been, what's funny is you guys got to realize it's getting so bad the milk toast fencer is forced to climb down from the fence. Like, that's a serious issue.
Yeah, people aren't giving you enough credit, I don't think.
Because
It's pretty big. It's a big moment.
It's the riots. Like, when
I'd like to take a little bit of credit.
it's bro, let me tell you something. In January of this year, I said absolutely no guns in my house.
Yeah, I remember.
End of story.
It's true.
I don't want to hear about it, no conversation.
Yeah.
COVID happened and I went, yikes. The riots happened and I went, now how many guns should I buy?
An undisclosed amount.
Yeah.
Many. And I bought, bows and arrows, and I was like, that's it. That was a huge, like, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
They have gone insane. It was seeing the Democrats support the riots.
Yeah, really.
And so now I'm sitting here. Trump says, look at these riots. That will be Biden's America.
Yeah.
And he is 100% correct.
Agreed.
When it came to federal jurisdiction, Trump defended it. When it comes to the states and the cities where the Democrats are in charge, they let them run rampant.
Yeah.
If Biden gets elected at the federal level, he will let them run rampant.
Yeah. Listen to this. From Cole Borland says, from a leadership standpoint, why the H would you appoint someone as your right-hand man, VP, who tried to slander you in the debates? Do they want more disunity? Is she okay with Biden's alleged sexual assault victims she was against before? Questions.
And that's
Why would she wants the power?
Trump chose Pence.
Right.
You know what it is? It's because Kamala is the actual presidential candidate.
Oh yeah. I guess
Biden is what someone called him, a Potemkin candidate.
Well, he admitted himself he's a transition candidate. What does that mean, Biden?
That's why they. So listen, Trump chose Pence. Pence was, and I mean, with all due respect, a bit player. He wasn't on the national stage. He was a governor, and you have to introduce that person to the nation.
Yeah.
And say, here's this individual. Here's what they represent. Kamala Harris is prominent nationwide. He chose her because she's the actual candidate, and everybody knows it.
Or they're just doing a rebuild and losing their worst Cards Against Humanity cards.
So to rebuild.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we got to make it seem like we're kind of serious. So Biden, former VP, makes sense.
And by the way, they're behind the scenes. They're like, Kamala, you're not going anywhere. Everyone hates you.
You can have vice president candidate on your Wikipedia page now.
Yes.
You're going to be the first black female VP candidate.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Congratulations. You'll be remembered for that.
You're gonna
Now, goodbye.
You write a book, you make millions of dollars, and this is the end of the line. I mean, you got to be careful, man, because I'll tell you what, never say never. They laughed at Trump and they said he'd never win, and they mocked him. Everybody knew it. I was sitting in a newsroom with Cassandra Fairbanks.
Okay.
And a bunch of Democrats,
Mm-hmm.
and Cassandra and I were sitting there, and we were both like, Trump's
Motherfucker.
gonna win, and they were all in the room gloating and laughing. And then we were watching, the New York Times had this meter that was like Hillary Clinton and Trump, and it was like all the way pointing to Hillary,
Yeah.
99% chance of winning, and it slowly started moving over, and we were like, what's going on? And Cassandra starts laughing, and I'm like, I start laughing too,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is hilarious, I love it.
It's happening.
Especially with the DNC did the Bernie.
Yeah.
Once it got near the middle, I was like, no. And then we like, Cassandra and I look at each other, and then it goes over to 50%. And we're like, it's a coin toss between Trump and Hillary. And it goes, Trump's favorite. And I'm like, ah. And then all of the Democrats in the newsroom started sweating bullets.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they were like, "Nyeh." And then it went to Trump, and then it was like 99% Trump. Cassandra was like crying. She's like, I can't believe this. He won. Trump supporters knew what they had to do to get him to win, even though they didn't. Not everyone. A lot of them thought, they were like, he's got it. We're going to win this.
Yep.
There were a lot of Trump supporters who were like, I know what I have to do, but I don't think he's going to win, but I have to do it, right?
Yeah.
He won. But this is why you got to be careful, because right now everyone's laughing at Biden and Harris. And what if, man?
What if?
You sit back, you got a smile on your face, and you're laughing. Trump's going to win, and then it goes Harris, Biden, landslide.
I see. I'm playing right into what you're saying, but dude,
Remember-
I can't wait to vote for Trump. I've never been excited about a political movement ever, and I think everybody feels the same way. Anyone wearing this hat is going, I can't wait to vote for him. And everyone who's voting for Biden is going,
Aggravating as
I
fuck.
guess he's not Trump.
Fucking dying.
They're going, I have to vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah, and they wouldn't walk over glass, as you eloquently put.
They're going,
The Trump supporters are like, we are gonna vote these people out. We are politically active. We can't wait. We can't wait to vote.
I agree. This is the big difference between Hillary's base, which were like, Hillary, and Trump's base that were like, Trump. And
Yeah.
today, right now, the
Mhm.
Trump enthusiasm is real.
Oh yeah.
But I remember that video when Ann Coulter was on Bill Maher and they said, of the Republican presidential candidates, who do you think's going to win? And she goes, of them right now, Donald Trump.
She
and
killed
they
it.
all started laughing
Oh,
at
yeah.
her, ha ha, pointing in her face. Be careful, man, because like, you do that big hearty laugh. They'll play it on loop.
We spent
You know
this
what I mean?
entire episode ripping horrible Harris apart because she is horrible.
Yeah.
She's done some horrendous things. Pair that with Biden, who's done horrendous things, who's been in office for a long time, has nothing but terrible things to show for his government time, and you expect me not to laugh when you say Trump or Biden Harris landslide. That's hilarious. Of course I'm gonna laugh. Like, get out of here. That's comedy gold right there.
Sure.
I have a really important point to make as this one gets to me. Because I worry that Trump supporters are so excited and so gung-ho. I'm genuinely concerned that they will be a little bit complacent and a little bit arrogant.
No,
What
did I just say? They're
hate-
excited to go vote. That's what they're going to do.
No.
Possibly so, but I hate to see the case where they just got a little too arrogant and they lose by just a few points. Like that, I don't want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
I think
It's not arrogance, it's excitement. They're actually excited about a political candidate. There's a
not just-
big difference.
It's not just that, it's like when you see the lies in the media, when you see the riots, there's one thing you do that strikes the biggest punch in the face to the far left extremists, to the Black Lives Matter rioters. You can't physically punch them in the face. You can't get that catharsis. You can, however, get it when you walk into that voting booth and you press a little button, a little tap on the screen.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. And then all of a sudden it's like you touch the screen and it feels like you're like full of energy and it's like, draw! And you're finally like, that's it.
Yep.
That
People are
is,
excited.
Michael Moore said it. The biggest FU in the history of the planet when they press that button for Trump. I'll tell you what.
Every
I
single
get it.
Trump voter is politically active. They're no longer complacent, and that's why they're voting for Trump. That's why they like Trump. So that
Here's-
whole argument is not valid to me.
Except there's a lot.
I won't
except
agree.
There's a lot of Trump supporters who are too scared to speak up.
Okay, that's a different. That's not the same thing though. They're still going to go out and vote for Trump though.
But they're not going to campaign on his behalf.
Okay.
And that means the propaganda campaign from the far left to suppress Trump's base from spreading the message is working.
It's the reason why I like Trump so much. It's because of their propaganda campaign against him has made me do my own research. Of course, being on the show has helped a lot too. But I saw that it made it blaringly obvious,
And it makes you angry.
and it obviously makes me angry. It makes me hyped up to go vote for him.
So what I'm
And
saying is-
everybody out there feels the same way. So I won't agree with that at
If
all.
every Trump supporter felt comfortable in explaining their views, then everybody would be red pilled.
Yeah,
they
sure.
would be like, wow, you're so right. But here, look at this. We have this one. Tympanic Leaf says, I tried having conversations about Trump, Biden, and BLM, and other people blocked me over it. It is sad when there is no longer any civil discourse.
That's all right.
So,
Not everyone.
Fucking
not everyone
bitch.
They're too defensive. They've got the defense mechanism. Their minds run on emotions. Well, most people aren't like that. Most of the people that I know, I've had civil conversations with. There's going to be people that cut you out, but if you're in a position where you will lose your job, when a lot of people do rely on you,
Fucking
go
whore.
vote, and that's the best you can do. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want people to feel guilty if they can't do that. And if they can't speak up because they're in a position where a lot of other people rely on them. I personally know some people that are supporting large families on their own who are going to vote for Trump, who can't speak out because if they lose their job, 5 or 6 people are screwed. So there are positions. So it's kind of like it irks me when you're like, if you're not standing up, it's your problem, and if they lose, then it's your fault. Think about the future. I'm not saying you're not right, but you have to think about all of the people. You know, it doesn't apply for everyone.
I've said if there's people who can't do it because they've got support, I understand that feeling.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, me personally,
But
I
a
couldn't
bitch.
imagine waking up on January 20th and going, my God, look what they've done.
Well, I mean,
And
you don't have 5 children.
And
You
thinking to
don't have-
myself, bro, they're repealing civil rights law in California, and I grew up hearing the stories about what these laws meant to my family. I just had a conversation with my mom about it, about how she was forced to flee several states. No joke. They find out you exist. It was illegal.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
the Democrats bringing this stuff back sends a chill down my spine. And I couldn't imagine waking up on January 20th watching these evil people assume power and thinking, I didn't do enough. I think we are doing as much as we can.
I agree.
I certainly think the people who are active in watching and sharing and commenting are absolutely doing what they can as well.
And thank you for that. Because
Absolutely.
people need to have these kind of conversations.
And I respect the people who are like, I just can't do it, because I've had those conversations too. There's a guy, I've been talking with, he's just like, he'll get purged from every job. It's homelessness overnight. No joke, because the industry that people work in. And I'm like, there's got to be a way. Maybe everybody could set something up where they all tweet out at the exact same time or something.
Share our videos. Let us
Yeah.
be the red pill. I will happily dish out red pills. I've been doing it nonstop, just making the red pills rain. I keep shooting them at Tim, and he's jumping down off the fence. He's admitted it today. He's
But this
jumping
is-
off the fence. So
This makes
you know,
me mad.
Well, sure. I mean, but you can be mad, but you have to understand that there's people that can't risk it, But those people can share our videos, and that really does a lot of help for us, and it spread like real news. Like that's what we try to do. We try to give you, the real truth of the matter, and we break it down. Obviously, I'm a little biased towards a certain president that we currently have that is our president, besides some of the people that don't want to believe it.
You have to understand, Adam, I am biased against Trump.
Okay. I know, it's obvious.
But I'm not Trump derangement syndrome. So
Okay.
I'm willing to accept, while there are things I don't like about him, he's the only option we have to resist the psychosis of what the Democrats are doing, what they're becoming. It's look, to be fair, like I hated all the presidents. You know what I mean? But right now I'm like, you know what, man? Perhaps Trump was necessary in that you were never going to get a charismatic populist of professional, perfect, you're never going to get a perfect person.
Yeah.
You get Trump. Trump kicks the door in and he says, take what you get, but after me, it's all you guys.
Well, you said you don't like you hated all presidents. I didn't know anything
Well, I
about
hate the game, you know.
But you hate the game, okay?
Yeah, it's all lies.
Well, I mean, now we've got a president who's calling the game out and saying, "Look at the game. All right, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna reforge the game." And everyone's like, "Yes, that's what we need." So it's like I didn't know presidents at all. I didn't pay attention. I wasn't political at all. I voted for Barack Obama because it felt right, you know. And he's a smooth, articulate guy. He's just like, man, he was a smooth talker. I'm like, man, I like this. You know, it was the first time I was able to vote, so I was excited also. And it's like now I know. Now I realize what's going on. I'm like, yes, I'm actually excited to vote for Trump because I do feel like he's the best for this country.
Well, I'm pro-choice.
Okay.
The Democrats have gone insane. The Republicans are compromising.
Okay.
So it's a loss from where I've been in my position.
Okay.
Pro-progressive tax. There's not really, these things have not become big issues right now because the culture war has dominated. But I'm absolutely 100% opposed to the death penalty. Right now the feds are reinstating it. I don't like it.
Okay.
However, Trump's coming around and saying we're going to pull our troops out of Afghanistan was like a massive, major, just like... And then he tweeted about income disparity, and I'm like, hey man, I like this guy. You know, and like he's tweeting good things. He's trying to get me to vote for him. But so the easiest way to explain it is, the Democrats have gone so insane. The only way to restore balance is if Trump wins again. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
They've adopted psychotic ideology.
Yes,
they're not even pro-choice anymore. They're literally pro-abortion. And I'm not exaggerating. They do these comedy routines where they're screaming everybody will get abortions. I'm like, what is nuts?
Yeah.
And Tulsi Gabbard was one of the only people to be like, well, hold on, we're pro-choice, but there's got to be some restrictions, right? And I'm like, thank you. Where's the sanity? They called her far right. It's insane. She's pro-choice.
Yeah.
So how do we get that balance back? Well, at this point, the closest thing to where America has been, where I've been, you look at the graphs. Look at Pew Research. You ever see that Pew chart where it's like, here's the Democrats and the Republicans in '94, and here's the Democrats and the Republicans today. The Republicans move over a little bit, and the Democrats go boom all the way to the far left.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening.
Why is everyone saying no song, no peace? Where is
It's not Friday.
It is not Friday.
No song.
Yeah, I was like, I see it like it's nonstop. What's up with no? I don't know anything about this. What did you guys decide? Did you decide something? Because you didn't inform us.
I've chosen.
Oh, we've got 50,000 likes. Is that why? Oh, 50,000 likes. That's someone's saying it now.
Oh.
What is that?
I guess they decided 50,000 likes. We have to play a song or
That's a
something.
lot of
You know what?
Did you say that?
No, I never said that. I think the chat decided.
Wild ideas down there.
I don't know.
It's past Tim's bedtime.
It is definitely
That's
past
true,
my
yeah.
time.
You want to hear us play? You got to tune in Friday night.
That's right, you gotta come back.
And this actually, Fridays end up being our biggest shows, and it's probably because, you know, we rock out, we play some good music, everybody
It's
loves
really
it.
fun.
Yeah.
My friends, if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Parler at Timcast. Mostly active on Twitter. You can also follow at Adam Kriegler in all the same places, Twitter, Instagram, Parler, and of course at Sour Patch Lids, LYDS. And if you haven't, check out timcast.net. It is my main channel. I put up a video every day at 4 p.m. Subscribe. I am very close to breaking 1 million subscribers, and I would love to get 1 million before they finally ban me, which I only imagine must be soon, considering it's very critical of the Dems, and the election is coming up. They must not like me. The same is true for this channel, though. Make sure you subscribe to this channel.
Yep,
Adam,
sure.
as well.
Yeah, we got Adamcast IRL on YouTube. You can check that out. I did a deep dive onto Donald Trump. If you haven't seen it, you can go check that out. I dig into his history, talk about his grandfather, all the way down to him becoming president, some of the policies that I like of what he's done. And I also did one on Tesla earlier on when I took over the Timcast IRL show. So, and I did an episode just talking about myself and, you know, explain a little bit about what I've been through. So you can check that out.
We have been working on expanding for quite some time. COVID has really made this impossible. I was looking at a building to buy last year, fell through, started looking again, COVID happens, and now it's been impossible. But we're really, really close, like maybe a few days away from finally getting this done. Plus, I really want to get out of New Jersey. This is insane, and just get away from this insanity.
Yeah.
And then expand. We're gonna get a bigger place. We're gonna hire on more people. We're gonna have more shows. We're gonna have a vlog. We're gonna have more skating. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And Adam's gonna have his own studio doing Adamcast IRL.
Yes,
so
I am.
check it out.
Forward to it.
And again, hit that like button. Most of you, I assume.
Whoa, no. Smash the like button.
Yes.
We don't just hit the like button here. You smash it.
Thank you. Excellent. And subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It gets really, really difficult every day because we do the show 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the viewers keep going up, and I'm like, it almost feels irresponsible to end a show with 62,000 people still hanging
It's
out.
because we have
Almost
the
like we should play a song.
We're not nothing set up.
No, we got to set up the location, the
Cameras,
jam
lights,
spot,
and everything.
You know, the mic
I'm kind of like that. Maybe we should. Once we have the new studio,
we'll have it ready.
We're gonna have a legit setup with like mics,
So
sound
cool.
controls.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be epic.
Yeah.
So hey everybody, thanks for hanging out. Stay tuned. Clips from the show go up every day the next day, and they're specific segments. So check it out. Subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. live once again here.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Adios.
Oh, love that.
What's up? Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, Bookie298 coming at you live once again for the power of the internet. I think when it comes to this console generation, I have made my bias fairly well known.
shit.
I'm rooting for Xbox to catch up with PlayStation because I want an even playing field. I want the Nintendo Switch to be doing well, I want the PlayStation to be doing well, I want the Xbox Series X to be doing well, and I want PC gaming to do what it's always done and just continue to dominate them all. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, obviously there's a million different reasons to buy that. When it comes to the PC, there's a million different reasons to get into PC gaming. The PlayStation 5 has made it abundantly clear why you would want to buy a PlayStation 5 with games like Horizon Zero Dawn and these other games that they've shown. Xbox really only had one reason to buy an Xbox Series X upon launch, and that was Halo Infinite. So that makes today's news very devastating. I woke up to Halo Infinite trending on Twitter, and this is the announcement we saw. This is from 343 Studios. And it says, today I want to share an important Halo Infinite development update with the community. We have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision. The decision to shift our release is the result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including ongoing, the stuff affecting us all this year. I want to acknowledge the hard work from our team at 343 Studios who remain committed to making a great game and finding solutions to development challenges. However, it is not sustainable for the well-being of our team or the overall success of the game to ship this holiday. We know this will be disappointing to many of you, and we all share in that sentiment. The passion and support the community has shown over the years has been incredible and inspiring. We wanted nothing more than to play our game with the community this holiday. The extra time will let us finish the critical work necessary to deliver the most ambitious Halo game ever at the quality we know our fans expect. Let me go ahead and say here, by the way, that a game delay is always a good thing. It's always a good thing. It means less crunch time for the developers. It means a better game for the consumer. It's always a good thing, and we should always encourage game delays. It's like Miyamoto said, a bad game is bad forever, but a delayed game is eventually good. Delaying this game means a better game for the consumer, a better flagship brand for the folks over at Xbox, and less crunch time for the developers. It's a win all across the board. My concern was that this was the system seller launch title for the Xbox Series X. So at the end of the day, what games do we have on launch for the Xbox? Let's take a look. I mean, this is really devastating for someone like me who is really, really rooting for Xbox this generation. I feel like their launch window, just like last time, is going to really be overshadowed by people choosing to play it on PlayStation 5 and people choosing to get, a PC. But if people get a PC, that's not all bad for Xbox now. I genuinely think Phil Spencer and the guys over at Xbox want you to buy a PC instead of a Series X. I think the Series X is the runner-up prize. Because look at this, they have Game Pass for PC as well as the Series X and the Xbox One, but all of the games that were available on Xbox One, all the first-party exclusives, are available on the PC version of Game Pass as well, and all of the games that are coming out for the Series X, all of those first-party exclusives are also going to be on Game Pass for PC. And if for some reason, instead of only paying $15 a month to get access to those games, you'd rather pay $60 to buy them outright, you can do that too on the Windows Store. If you subscribe to Game Pass on a Series X, or you subscribe to Game Pass on a PC, they still get your $15. If you buy Halo Infinite when it finally releases on the PC, or you buy it on Series X, they still get their $60. They don't care where you play. And so that leads me into thinking in this next generation, for most people, there's no reason to buy a Series X. You're better off buying a PC, which gives you access to so much more than a Series X will, including all of the Microsoft games that you want to play, and then a PlayStation 5 to set next to that PC, and you should hold on to your Nintendo Switch. But as for the Series X, the most important thing here is that we are going to get a better Halo Infinite. There was a very real chance, looking at that preview for that game, that this game was going to flop. And it simply did not manage to capture people's attention because a lot of people just didn't like the graphics. There was a lot of criticism about what they showed, and that ruined a lot of the hype for the game. This gives them a second chance to rebuild that hype and make a better game. And we all want Halo Infinite to be, well, the infinite Halo experience. And this dark reality is, because of what's happening in the world right now, there's a very real chance that both of these consoles are going to have really slow starts anyways. A launch title game may not sell very well because there won't be a lot of systems to play it on. Manufacturing is being slowed down. People do not have the money that they would normally have during the holiday season to buy these gaming consoles. It's anybody's guess what this is actually going to turn out to look like. So, good on 343 Studios and good on Xbox for doing this, even if it might end up hurting the launch.
If you've been a subscriber for some time, you may have seen my analyzed reviews in the past for films like Enemy, Prometheus, or Only God Forgives. While planning this discussion, I decided that style was perfect for this video. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the problem with horror movies today. I was inspired to make this video for a few reasons. I saw an Australian horror film called The Babadook, and because of having to sit through 2014 releases like The Quiet Ones, Annabelle, and most recently, Ouija. It's also due to reading opinions of this year's psychological thriller, Oculus, but mostly what I want to discuss is audience expectation, how that can ruin a good horror film, and more importantly, have audiences forgotten what real horror is. In my opinion, the horror genre is the most widely varied in film. There's countless subgenres: monsters, slashers, zombies, ghosts, nature, aliens, torture, comedy, and my personal favorite, psychological. This is perhaps why I've always gravitated to scary and suspenseful films. As a genre, the use of imagination is almost unlimited. But lately, imagination is a word that studios, horror filmmakers, and as a result, the audience has completely forgotten about. Here's a comment I recently came across on IMDb. Okay, this is meant to be a horror, right? You wait all through film to see this thing just to be let down. Yes, the atmosphere is creepy, but the end ruined it. Imagination is for kids. I want to see the monster at the end. Big letdown. This comment was in reference to The Babadook, which I recently had the pleasure of seeing. If you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, I won't spoil anything for you. It's a dark, soulful film about a mother and son dealing with grief and a monster that lurks in the darkness. This commenter seems to be upset that he didn't receive much of a look at said monster. He also seems to have completely missed the point of the film. The Babadook is the best horror film I've seen in 2014. It deeply unsettled me, and not just because of its effective atmosphere and cinematography. The true terror of the film is its implications, the hidden meaning of the monster, and its excellent exploration of grief and depression. All of this was beautifully realized in an Oscar-worthy performance by the luminous Essie Davis, who perfectly displayed the looming insanity that consumed her character. The film currently stands at 96% on Rotten Tomatoes and 90 on Metacritic. Mature and discerning horror fans have shown major appreciation for the film's lack of cheap jump scares and the tasteless scare tactics of many modern-day horror films. And yet, that's also the problem. For many audience members today, the term scary has a completely different definition. For some, it seems a film's scare level is measured by how many times a loud noise or sound effect made them jump in their seat. This is the curse of the jump scare. It is the single easiest scare to accomplish. There's no real effort put into it, and the exact same technique is used every time. All sound suddenly drains from the movie, no one speaks, there's no music, and then suddenly an ear-piercing jolt rings through the theater and everyone jumps because a really loud noise just happened. Often it's revealed to be one of the main character's friends, or some other type of false scare. Please observe this scene from the original and highly effective horror film, Halloween.
Jesus. Are you alright?
This is how a false scare should be portrayed. Look at it this way, and this may be a little vulgar, but it's true. Horror movies should be like sex. You don't want the audience to blow their load too early. Now bear with me on this one. If your audience begins to associate everything frightening in the film with loud noises and sound effects, then your film will build to nothing. The climax of the movie won't be effective in the least, because the audience has already had all the tension released too early by countless jump scares, making what's actually supposed to be frightening near the end tiresome. Let's examine that scene again, but how it would be portrayed in 2014. With this absurd noise, all tension has deflated from the film, and the music has now told us that the sheriff is the one to fear, not Michael Myers. The jump scare is the cheapest tactic used in horror films today, and the most frightening thing is, its rampant use has caused many audience members to forget what true horror is. Another deciding factor is marketing and audience expectation. A primary example I often reference is The Village, a film by frequently maligned director M. Night Shyamalan. Many view this as the film where Shyamalan began to lose his talent. But did he? Or did our expectations for the film we wanted to see let us down? The problem was the marketing, something Shyamalan has since regretted approving. The trailers made the movie out to be a creature feature, when in reality it was a period piece romance. I remember being vastly disappointed with the twist ending because my friends and I had spent months excitedly trying to figure out what the creatures would look like, only to discover the film was actually a love story in hiding. Years later, the film has since become more respected, especially for Roger Deakins' gorgeous cinematography. Unfortunately, since most horror directors have zero clout in the industry, they rarely have a say in what goes into their trailers, so most good horror films are mismarketed to try and appeal to a mass audience mentality. For that reason, the trailer for The Babadook is marketed as a creature feature. The trailer has over 1 million views on YouTube. That's over 1 million people expecting a monster movie who will leave the theater disappointed that they just watched a challenging and mature psychological thriller. All they wanted to see was a monster. Let's talk about Oculus, which is currently my second favorite horror film of the year behind The Babadook. I've seen it twice now, and upon the second viewing, was even more impressed with the seamless, non-linear storytelling than I was the first time. It's a film about an evil mirror, and its reign of terror on a helpless family told across many years. I'll never forget my experience at the screening. When the credits ended, I was literally the only person praising it. Everyone was saying the exact same thing to me. Really, Chris? You liked it? Why? It wasn't even scary. I fear this is because of something I'll reiterate. Audiences have forgotten what real horror is. Did I jump in my seat when I watched Oculus? No, not that I recall. Isn't that great? The writer-director Mike Flanagan cleverly uses the story of two children witnessing their parents slowly go insane. Their father chaining their mother to a wall as she rips out her own teeth. The eventual repressed memories of adulthood and the looming terror of mental illness. These things are scary. In fact, they're terrifying. And yet, movies like Annabelle, a shameless cash grab to leech off one of the better horror films in recent memory, and Ouija, a movie about a fucking board game, continue to top the box office. Let's talk about James Wan, the director of Insidious, The Conjuring. Clearly, the man understands the genre, but you might be thinking, Chris, you're being hypocritical. Both of those films were littered with loud sound effects and jump scares. Yes, they were, but they weren't false. All of the terror generated by those films were from things you're actually supposed to be scared of. Wan understands what modern audiences find frightening, while also respecting his more mature audience members by avoiding false scares. And yet, studios don't care about anything I just said. All they care about is the numbers. It's been made painfully obvious since 1978's Halloween that horror films can be made for cheap and rake in absurd profits. The Blair Witch Project and the seemingly endless Paranormal Activity series has spawned a new subgenre in horror called found footage. According to Box Office Mojo, the budget for Blair Witch was $60,000, and it raked in $248 million. Paranormal Activity was made for a mere $15,000 and grossed an astonishing $193 million worldwide. Remember the universally hated Chernobyl Diaries? Yeah, it grossed 37 times its budget. Wasn't Apollo 18 such a gigantic misfire? Not really. Even though it only grossed $25 million worldwide, it still made 5 times its budget. Wasn't The Devil Inside terrible? Guess what? That thing grossed 101 times what it cost to make. Nearly everyone I've talked to agrees that Annabelle was an awful movie. As of right now, that film has a worldwide gross of $231 million on a budget of just $6.5 million. Or how about Ouija? Currently, this film has just had its second weekend at the box office and has already grossed $42 million worldwide on a budget of just $5 million. In its first weekend, more people went to see this board game movie than the excellent action thriller John Wick. And in its second weekend, the film basically tied with Nightcrawler, one of the best films of the year, for first place. I'm disgusted by this. I've talked to not one single person that liked Ouija. Not one. I've been told by some people that I pay attention to the box office too much, and that I shouldn't let it bother me. Unfortunately, it bothers me because I know this is what the studios are looking at. They don't care if anyone actually liked Annabelle or Ouija or any of those found footage movies I just mentioned. They will make sequels and prequels until they stop making money. I've made this video to implore people to reevaluate what good horror is. I'm concerned by the rising trends I see with today's moviegoers, and if you are too, please share this video in the hopes that we can generate awareness for this disturbing pattern that's infecting the horror genre. What are your thoughts on modern day horror? Let me know what you think in the comments section, and as always, thanks so much for watching, everyone, and if you like this, you can click right here and get stuckmanized. After publishing my video, The Problem with Horror Movies Today, many requested that I tackle other genres as well. Choosing another genre to dissect was simple. There's really no competition. Action movies are suffering today, and not just in the way they're crafted, but at the box office as well. Sure, nearly every huge superhero film and its sequels rake in crazy money, but this video will focus more on pure action films, the issues with how they're made, and my suggestions for how to improve them. For this video, I came up with a simple process that action filmmakers can employ, and of course, this is...
The last time I played this, I played it with the homie Jake to the Dustin. Now, I did horribly, but I figured if I'm gonna play this again with somebody else, let me at least practice. So this is, we're gonna, I don't know, give me 1 second. Sorry, but the music. We out front of the group. We're gonna be running from all the other contestants like this. Stop. All right, I'm done. This is it. I'm not gonna wait for that breakdown. I'm not waiting for the breakdown. Which one you ask this one? Okay. Let's do that, Jay! Hey! Okay, you see, by the way, did I mention my voice? That I'm a little ninja. We have the little ninja outfit. Okay, can't crash. Now, this is my second time playing. The first time was with JD. I have not touched this game since. Well, let's get it. Let's go. Come on, this is the one to stand. There you go. There you go, Dash. No, don't go here. Go here. Look at your boy already killing it. Go to this one. Let's stay here. Let's stay here. Okay, we're gonna at least qualify. No. No! Okay, oh, somebody else got the ninja outfit too, bitch. I thought I was special. Oh my, that's alright. That's alright. Go. Okay, slide with your shit. Which one? Stay in the middle. No, stay, go to the right. I didn't realize that the shit was gonna just stay right here in the middle. This is right now. We're not gonna qualify. Yeah, middle. Yeah! Oh! Where was that at? You are ready qualified! That's right. That's right. Sorry. Wait, egg scramble. Wait, I never played this one. Put the most eggs in your team's baskets. Okay, alright. This is the first for me. Which team am I? Oh, yellow. Okay, here we go. Got the eggs. Where the basket at? Is this the basket? That's the basket. Okay. Go grab the... We gonna do it. Hey, go! Let me grab it, you and shit. Alright, here we go. Okay, there we go. Hey, they gotta come in here and grab our shit. Somebody stay here and protect our eggs, man. We got the least. Why do my team have to be so sorry? Move this my shit. There we go. Hey, nobody paying attention to it. We only got 11 shit. Why are we holding it down while we're doing the work? Everything got nothing to do with me. I'm doing my part. Let me get the eggs. It look like Yoshi eggs. Big eggs. We got 7 eggs? Why is my team so bad? Wait, right, special egg. Have to go next. That shit worth more money. Move! Okay, it's up there. Yeah, press my team. That wasn't on me. That was not on me. If it was an individual challenge, I would have handled that. No. Stop. Why is he hiding? Why? He wrong. But we got this. Here we go, my boy. Okay, see, I'm about this. I got this. This is what we did. That first? Okay, that's all right. We're going to re-qualify here. But let's just not do that team stuff no more. I don't want to do the team stuff no more. Because my team's getting whacked. But watch your boy murder this. Stay right here. See? It's all about that. Okay, I took it a little bit, but we still got it. No. Okay. Right here. Stop! Just stay here. Oh my God. Stay right there. Stop! Ooh, you saw that? Right here. Okay.
You're saying
Okay.
shit.
We kind of went wrong. No! Okay, we're good. We still made it. Left. Wow! Okay. My timing is off here. Go to the right. Shot! Well, navigate through the obstacles and race to the finish line. Okay, I could work with this. At least they can. Was this the one with the lollipop? This one don't have the lollipop. Okay. I don't think so. Alright, I remember this. Okay. No, we got. I think we got this. Here we go. Okay. Let's get it. Stop. Okay. Dash, you got this. You got this. It's all about it. I'm still in it. Watch out. Get up quick. See that? You see this stuff? Watch out. Yeah, push me towards that shit. No, never mind. Not second. Oh, shit. Okay. Now you can just jump over here. Oh, my God. Look at this chaos. Jump and grab the shit. They keep pulling me down. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Move! Alright, here we go. This is like Chuck E. Cheese. If it was like in a different country. We're good. No, do I want to go up the middle? Oh, we have to. Alright, here we go. Alright. Okay, I don't want to go up the middle. Go this way. I don't like because those eyes, look, see people getting tossed up? Can I make it? No. Move. Even though I like his outfit, that little rhino shit is cheap. Wow! Stop! You gonna fuck my jump up! Oh, it's coming back. It's coming back! Okay, there's only 9 people there. Wow! Well, my chances are now looking so... I can make this. I can make that. I can make... Fries move. I don't want the calories. We make that. We take that. Get your ass at the fries. Oh, try to beat you. Yeah! Oh, we got the same outfit. Oh, that's Bob. See that? I only have the top part. Hey, right now I only have the top part too. Y'all know what's going on out here. That's right, my boys. That's right, my boys. Bye. What y'all get? Please don't let it be a team one. I know it's randomized, but please, I don't want to see them fries. Okay. All right. Wait, no, it didn't show me yet. Why am I talking about all right? Yes, I didn't see which one it was. To grab a tail, make sure that your team has more tails. This is new to me. This is all new. Grab a tail. Is that a tail? And where do we bring the tail? Yo, the instructions aren't clear. I don't know where we bring the tails. Okay, what's on again? Did we go up here and grab this? Is this a tail? What is going on? Why is everybody running around? Oh, they got tails somewhere. This is my first time doing this one. I'm sorry. They look like Tanuki Mario. Where the tails at? Bring your ass up. Give me that. I got a tail. Somebody took it from me. Come here. Give me that tail, bitch. Hey, that doesn't sound right. Look at our team. Why do I always have the worst team? I mean, I know I'm not doing my part, but still. Oh, my shit. Get up. I got it. No, move. I got the tail. No. He got my shit. Give me my shit back. Give me my... I'm getting that tail. Give me my shit. Oh, I bet he got it back. Give me somebody. I got 8 seconds to get a tail. Give me that tail. No! Great big tail. Stop! Oh no, this is the same, right? Yeah. Okay, they love this one. Yeah, I know I can call it this, but you know, it is what it is. Even though I didn't qualify it. Sometimes, you always say, where's the race? What is it? That one doesn't know. All right. That's something. But you have to be real patient. I'm good though. We qualify here. Get up! Okay, now this is why Go! Let's go! Does the second round always have to be a team thing with the tail and the eggs? Can it just be something else like that? Like just a race to the finish? That would be great. I saw a soccer ball. Can it just be a race to the finish? That would be great. I would really appreciate that. If that's what this is, we got it. Because I mean, I'm trying to make it to the end. I mean, like, please. Okay, so still picking? All right. What is it? Why is it always like this? Well, let's see if my team, now I'm gonna mess this up for me. Put the both eggs in the basket. To the camera. I was like, okay, but what's the deal with those golden eggs? Would that work like 2 eggs? Let's try to grab this. Here we go. I'm going to try to do special things. I thought I had this for a second. Let me back over this. Stop! It knocks the shit out your hand. Okay, team. My team doing it. My team's doing it. Okay, yeah. Go over there. I'm gonna hold this down. Okay, I'm in your team too. Okay, no, the blue people got it. No, give me my shit. Oh, that's my team. No, you good. Oh my God. Wait, go to net. Give me. Move. Fight. Throw hands. Go net. stop. Wait, our team's still killing you. Yeah, go over there. Yo, my team doing this. My team doing this. Bitch, go up and go get him. Hey, what am I doing? I got it. No, yo, go on, pass it on to the homie. Go, I got you. I gotta protect you. Oh shit, we're losing now. Okay, we gotta go. We got some eggs. We got this up. I gotta go. I gotta go. Oh, he's my team. I keep coming up. Hey, yeah, let's go. Come on. Come on, I'm gonna hold you down. I lost my egg. Where's my team at? Oh, we winning. We winning. Okay, wait, we got the egg. Maybe at least it's trying to suck to this team. Oh, wait. Okay, good luck. What? What hit me? No! No! Yeah, go, get the egg! Look, I got him! Yo, let me hold you down. I got to grab him. I keep grabbing him, but I don't think I have it, so I let it go. Yeah, over there. Over there. We got the 6 spot for this 6. There's the 1. We got this. My team did that. My team did that. Let's get it.
Motherfucker. Fucking bitch.
Oh boy. Okay, this is my first time playing this one. Yo, wait, why is that shit like this? Okay. So if I do that, this is my first time with this one. I'm gonna try my best. But let's see what happens. Show you camera. Show you camera. Remember, they cheat. They cheat the system. They cheat the system out here. Oh, really? This really do look like a Mario 3 World level. It's a good thing I'm trained. Stay on the edge. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I can jump this way? Okay. No! Wait, stay right here. Stay right here. Oh. Well, shit. Why am I stuck here? Do I really have to go all the way around? Oh, we're not qualified. Nobody's made it. Still. Oh my god. Yo, do not play with me right now. I'm not in a good mood. There we go, Dash. What is going on? What is this? What is that? Ah! No, they wild. That's why nobody made it yet. Really? You can't balance on that! Are you supposed to hang on to something? What the fuck? You gotta do. You want like nothing. What? They wild with that. How did I was going through it with my shit, my man said this. How? Who's shooting? You already done did this one like 5 to 6 times. You got this. Let's just go, man. We already know what to do here. It's all about the team one. That's what messes me up. And then that new one. Because we had a new one, so that one was like, you know, since it was my first time, it really put me off. What? What is this? This is new. I thought this was the other one with the lollipop. This is a different one. What do? Go don't get jinxed. What is getting jinxed? I'm not quite sure what getting jinxed means. I see a lot of swinging and we're losing. Oh, wait, I'm jinxed. You have to jinx somebody? How do you jinx people? How do you do that? It look like I'm in love. It don't look like I'm jinxed. My whole team jinxed up. No, I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm not. So because I'm jinxed, am I already out? Am I already out of it? We're done. That's it. You're not jinxed. Come here. Okay, see, I guess you just don't get touched because if you once you're jinxed, you're jinxed. No, don't push me off. Stop. I don't want to see it. Don't show me that. I get it now. It was my first time. If it's my first one, then I know y'all know because y'all watching people play. You playing it. I get it. But me, I don't know. I don't know. What we got? Whoa. Seesaw. I remember this when I played with Jay Dizzle. Okay, if I remember correctly, this one is tough. This one is a little tough. By the way, I know it say seesaw. You gonna see Saul this week, I promise. Oh, I remember now. Hey, y'all fucking. Y'all really fucking. Hey, we gotta do this. Look, there's the fucking using one of them. Yeah, I'm with you, Terry. I'm with you. Watch out. Let's be friends. That bitch pushed me off this shit because he jumped at the same time I jumped. If I don't qualify because I call him cute and everything, look what happened. Hey, you got on my same outfit, though. Ain't no room for both of us. Ain't no room for both of us. Okay, go this way. Here we go, Dad. Yes. Hey, watch out. This is the swift will be slow. Yeah. What are you doing? You're fucking the group. I was gonna go with you. Ah! Stop. Look at that. No, look at that. No, move your arm. Come on, man. Hey, that's what they're doing right here. Look at that. Hey, I see him a little bit. That's like there's some kind of chemistry. Why they have to come in and mess it up? They was having some kind of chemistry. Hey, y'all. I'm doing that thing where you're staring at one area and I can't stop looking at it. It's happening right now to me. I cannot stop looking at it. And it's not anything in particular. It's like you're seeing your eyes in one spot, but all you see is peripherals. This is weird. Why is this happening to me? Should I stop? How do I stop? I blinked and it didn't go away. I'm still doing it. Okay, I looked away, but it's still the same thing. Wait, focus that.
Bro, what the fucking fuck, dude?
No.
Fuck ass Rex. Bitch. That man's stupid.
Oh boy. Well, why does it always start off like that? Okay, guys, try to just relax and chill. Okay, it's hard to relax and chill, but they chill. It's not chill. Oh my God. Wow. Is that the doctor? Okay, alright, relax. Hey, chill. What really messed it up?
Bitch.
Now, okay, now I go for next side. This part was easy. This ain't right. Just gotta run diagonal. Part coming. Almost got my chickens. This part. Somebody. We messed up the group. Well, we're not qualifying today. Y'all go ahead. I'm not. time. It's time. It's spinning. Is it spinning? About me. Where that bitch come from? Oh no! The soda's right there, I'm dead! Stay in the middle. Hold the soda, hold the soda. Ah! The lone wolf might have been a fox. You already know how many. Nope, don't show me that. There was nothing I could do right there, y'all. Oh, bitch, I thought I was the other dude. Move my voice, move. Bah, there we go. Okay, you flow a little bit, but that's all right. Oh, these bitches is like... Grab on to something! Grab on to something! I grabbed on my hand. It was way up. They messing it up for us. We gotta go around. Oh my God. I don't know about this one, y'all. Okay, here we go. And nope, we might still have a chance. I hope there's a lot of people up front. Okay, see, they're doing the same thing they did earlier. Okay, we're gonna give it a shot. So this way. Okay, yeah. This is the obvious choice. Oh, down here. Okay, hold on. My dudes, it's all the way tilted. Wow! I'm still winning. Please? Wow, really? All right, well, we're definitely not qualifying here. Look, oh, buddy, if I qualify, it'll be... Come! I did that for 2 seconds. What's that? L? So, I'd rather be surprised. So let me wait till it starts, not stopped. I'm just gonna be surprised with it. All right, you ready, Dash? Are you ready? Well, it's still in the little screen that's then. Okay, here we go. It tells you. It still tells you. Okay. I don't like this, but can I just grab one from my team? Oh no, I gotta grab one from the other team. Do you have one? I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell? Damn, that's a secret. I'm sure that's the reason I'm like, oh wait, I should have got that green one. Oh, I got one! Ah! Tell me come back because you're going real fast. How long we gotta have a tail for that damn long? Oh no, they have to. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, come on. No, that bitch grabbed my shit! Grab this shit. I'm gonna get my shit back. It was you. It was you, Toucan. It was you, Toucan. It was you, Toucan. Got my shit back. Yeah, stop. snatched it from good. Good, as long as you don't got my shit. I don't care what I got. I'm gonna get somebody's shit. So that's it. Disqualified. What? I still qualified. Wait, did I exit before once I got qualified? Or was I disqualified before? It's because my team had more. But I'm just saying, like, did I make that mistake? Because I feel like that is a mistake that I would make. Because you know what? First of all, I'm not good at reading. Also, but I feel like I would have made that mistake. So that's all. I could already see it in the comments. Like, Dash, you entered, but you got qualified. But in my mind, I saw this qualified. What is this? What is this? Memorize the icons in the titles. Like Mario Party, and then you match the icon on the screens to avoid the slime. Oh boy. Oh, this is why are we doing jump jacks? Hold on for that. Oh, great. What was it? Great watermelon. What? Wait, does it change? Watermelon. Wait, watermelon. Oh, this is a problem. This is gonna be a thing. Can you knock it down? Oh, this is a problem. I'm not, wait, pay attention. It changes though.
Oh, I gotta come back here. Fuck.
Watermelon, cherry, orange. Watermelon, cherry, orange. Orange is way down here. How you doing, bro? Hey, cool. How you doing? You got a problem. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Hey, stop. It's like that. Cherry. See, it was this one. Yo, damn, hey! Oh my, come on, push him off. That karma don't hit you. Yes! We out here today. Give me some cheese. Not that one. Wait, it is this one. I said juicy, I didn't mean the slime. Well, let's see where we take the time with the slime. Okay. I'm really nervous about this. This is not. To me, this is unthinkable now. Alright, try to take the time with it. That look like it's a rush. Or if you have one rush like this, it's a problem. Alright, relax. Slow and steady. How you doing, Fry? I'm still trying to stay away from you with the calories. All that sodium. I'm already salty enough. No, I'm talking about. Alright, here we go. What are y'all doing pushing me out of here? Stop. Chill. I was early. Shit. Dizzy Heights. This level about to did me right. What? Alright, what is this? Wait. Navigate the obstacle to the... Okay. Oh, well. We're about to take an L here. At least we're seeing some new drugs. Oh my, oh wow. So you got to get on the shit. What do you do? You go back up? What do you do? Oh, you're like in a different section. Wow. You see him though? Jumping through. Hey, I'd rather go down here than up there. That was a better choice. What is this? I didn't know that there was a whole pair. Pause. I'm dead. I'm dead. Okay, we got this. Let's go! Well, was about this. But we did that. But I feel like on purpose you should get pushed down here. Because it's easier down there to get downhill. What? Listen. I might qualify though. If my team got more tails than the other team, we might still could do this. Let me try to do my part. Make sure that your team. Okay. I got it. Alright, let's see if we get lucky. I'm blue team this time? No, I'm not. I'm orange team. That's the best team. Roll hard. And
Oh, fuck. I got a goddamn.
Give me your shit. Run that tail. Bye, bitch. Okay. Probably grab the fucking. God. That's a great right there. I should have. Somebody in my team grab that. So that's my team. That's my team. Y'all doing it. Bitch, you have a tail. Okay. I like that little Tyrannosaurus Rex shit. Who got it? This red bitch? No, get it. Okay, my team got it. My team. Bitch, let me go. They just hope you got a tail. They just grab anybody. They just check. Give me that shit. Alright, here we go. Okay, y'all team, I'm holding it down for y'all. Watch out. Just stand here. Look around. Look around. Look around. Hey, ain't nobody around me. Ain't nobody around. I'm just chilling. Hey, that's me. Hey, team. We're the same team, you stupid bitch. Oh, watch out. Somebody. That bitch trying to grab my shit. Why is that moving? Ah! Ah! No! Who can't see up that yet? Alright. Okay, grab. Where two can't sing? Grab that bitch. I got one. Ah! Watch out. Ah! Ah! Oh, he got one. Okay, he got one. Oh, boy. Ah! 23 seconds. No, he got one too. You can't, if you already got one, you can't get another. Right? Then you be looking like tails from Sonic. Okay, keep your shit. Shit right here. Shit right here. Yo, team, hold it down. Hold it down. 7, 6. I did my part. I had a tail on me. I did my part. There was nothing else I could do. I did my part. I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna keep working on this. I need to get better. I'm gonna keep working on this. This game's fun. I love it. Thumbs up. We all keep doing this. I like this. I'm done. What is this? Perfect map. What am I seeing? Other players? Why am I don't want to look at. What? I'm not even in this. Why am I even in this? Why am I forgot to exit? Is that what it is? Okay. I'm not in this. Why am I don't care about those people. Why do I I love you guys. I'm gonna see y'all, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. A little salty. But I'm proud of what we did, which wasn't much. I was about to next. Party tomorrow, yeah! barely make it.
Really?
Joining us now live, he's in the White House as we speak, is the President of the United States. Mr. President, thank you, sir, for joining us. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Sean.
Let's start with the big news today. Kamala Harris, your initial thoughts.
Well, if you read the various political pundits, he would have said that maybe that would have been the one. A lot of people think it's a dangerous choice. I think, she's the most liberal person supposedly in the Senate. That's pretty liberal, but she's supposed to be the most. I'm not sure that's what the country wants. I think if it is, we've got problems, but I would be surprised if it is. She wants to raise taxes. She wants to get rid of your Second Amendment. No guns for protection, no nothing. She's very strong on the Second Amendment, getting rid of it. And very bad to the military. She wants to cut the military. She wants to cut spending for the military and the vets. And, I don't quite get the choice, but we'll have it out. We have a great vice president named Mike Pence, and he will take care of business just like he did the last time against a different candidate.
Well, Vice President Pence, by the way, will exclusively join us on this program tomorrow. Let's go through some of the specifics. She was one of the first Democrats to co-sponsor, I call him Bolshevik Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, he used to be an outlier in the Democratic Party and way outside the Democratic mainstream. She co-sponsored not only a single-payer Medicare for all, which would be anywhere estimates from $32 to $54 trillion.
What the fuck, dude? So fucking annoying.
Even for Americans that like his plan. That sounds extreme, sir.
180 million people, and they love their plan, not like it, and they don't want to take it away. And if you go into socialized medicine, which is what she wants and supports strongly, and it's what Biden wants, ultimately, it's not going to have a choice because his party wants it. The people that really control the party, he will never control the party. They want it. That means you're destroying something that 180 million people love. They have a plan that they really like. That's a very hard thing to do. Very hard thing to do. And by the way, I have to say, Larry and Leo and Janine and your great Senator John Kennedy, who's fantastic, and Carl Rove, who's been so great. Carl and I had our disputes previously. We like each other a lot now. He's been great. But Carl was great tonight, and I will say that was some little precast I had on. That was very impressive. Thank you.
That's I guess that we call that the opening act, Mr. President.
Well, they were good. They were good.
I've talked a lot about this, and when you were a candidate, I asked you many, many times about the need for America to become energy independent. And you went forward with the Keystone XL pipeline, the Dakota pipeline. You've opened ANWR, and for the first time in 75 years, America is now energy
Fucking
independent.
bitches, man.
Now also, for a longer period of time, the largest producer of energy in the entire world. She was a co-sponsor in the U.S. Senate of this radical Green New Deal. Joe Biden has already pledged trillions of taxpayer dollars for that plan. All I see is that would eliminate, the lifeblood of the world's economy, America's economy, in the next 10 years, according to the original plan that she, again, was a co-sponsor of. How do you see that in terms of the geopolitical, strategic, even defense of this country? Because that, to me, is a crucial program that is scary. To go back to energy independence is scary to me.
Well, we are now energy independent for the first time, I guess, ever. And we're very powerful on energy. When we had the pandemic hit us from China, which should have never happened, they should have never let that happen. But there was obviously a lot of energy around, and we saved it. I saved it. We called Russia, President Putin, we called the King of Saudi Arabia. They cut 10 million barrels of oil a day, and we saved the energy, and now we're at $41 a barrel. But more importantly, for the people driving cars, we're around $2 and even less a gallon, and it's fantastic. She's against petroleum, she's against fracking, so is Biden. And that means you can't win Texas, you can't win Pennsylvania, you can't win Oklahoma or North Dakota or many other states. And it also means your electric bills would go up literally by 10 times. It wouldn't be even sustainable. And if they went with this crazy green, it's like child's play. If they went with the so-called Green New Deal, you're talking about a catastrophic for the country. You'd probably have to close 20 to 25% of your businesses even to qualify, and they wouldn't function properly because we don't have that kind of energy. It's crazy. They can't power our massive. We have these massive plants, some of which and many of which are being built under me. The car companies are moving back from Japan and from other countries, coming in from Germany. They're coming back to America, first time in 42 years, and you can't even think about firing up those plants with the kind of things they're talking about. Wind is nice, but it causes tremendous environmental problems, from site to home values going way down. If you see a windmill and you hear a windmill, your home is worth half or less than half. It kills all the birds. The whole thing is crazy what they want to do, and they'll destroy the country. We built the greatest, and if you see what's happened, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world, better than China by far. We were lapping them, and then all of a sudden, when the plague came in, we had to close it down. We saved millions of lives, and now we're opening it up, and we're setting records. And you even see the stock prices today. The markets are, NASDAQ is higher than it ever was, and the Dow is just about ready. I mean, it's right at almost at the same level. Who would have believed that in the middle of a pandemic, which we're soon going to have vaccines and therapeutics? It's going to be, it's going to all be good next year. We're going to have one of the greatest years we've ever had, if it isn't blown out the window by tripling and quadrupling taxes and regulations.